Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings. Week 14 picks against the spread, free money parlays, super locks, and of course a Cust Corner mini. If you want to get in on Cust Corner, I highly recommend you go search Cust Corner on Spotify or Apple. Sub to it over there. If you're on Apple Podcasts, leave a nice review if you want to go through the back catalog of all the Cust Corners. I am off next Monday because I am traveling, so the first half of the season-long Cust Corner, best of, is going to rear its ugly head there. So if you're looking for something to listen to next Monday morning, boom, Cust Corner, 34A, I think is what I'm going to be calling it, will be coming out. So that will be up on the Pat Mayo Experience feed if you're looking for it. Additionally, if you want to play in the best tournament on DraftKings for the NFL, the Pat Mayo Experience Listeners League, the link is down in the description, as is the link to the newsletter. As always, there's a bunch of information in the newsletter, for one thing, and it's free to sign up. But if you ever want the spread show early, you get it 12 hours or so early on Tuesday evening because you have the email just sent to you. It has the private link in it, and boom, you can watch the show. Please help us time code the episode down in the description. And for all my good friends out there who want to play in the Race for the Mayo Cup PGA One and Done, registration is now open. There's $500,000 of guaranteed money this year. That's up from $350 a year ago because it was so popular. FantasyGolfChampionships.com. You can enter up to 5 times. It's $125 per entry. You make one pick per week, and it goes the entire season. So it's not a huge time investment. And when you really break it down in dollars per week, it's like $3 per week or something like that. You have a chance to win some huge prizes, and you get to play jabronis like myself and Geoff Fienberg, who's, congratulations, Geoff. I saw your alma mater won the Canadian National College Championship in football. It's impressive stuff.
I honestly didn't even notice that had happened. There are a few other things in football. Like, I was kind of unaware that the Panthers fired Joe Brady until way after Sunday. So that was a weird Sunday morning news drop. That's the equivalent of a political story news drop on Friday before Thanksgiving, or I should say the Wednesday, a weird time. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. Sign up for the contest. I'm horrible in one and done. Despite my ability to get really lucky in picking a handful of winners throughout a season, Pat, I am the worst at one and done. I overthink it. Every year, the strategy we tell the listeners to employ, just fire bullets. There's always going to be players that emerge that you don't think you would use. So don't be afraid to fire them. Play the forgotten elites. I always try to overthink it, and I fail miserably all the time. So my money is free to you.
Same as mine. I'm going to have 5 entries, and I doubt any of them cash because maybe I'll get lucky this year and I'll win my money back, and that would just be fantastic news. But $500K of guaranteed money is it's not so bad. Let's bring him in right now. The third member of the show had a pretty decent week in the picks last week. It is the Coin, but it tied with me at 7-7 for the week because it wasn't all that great. Geoff won the week, double-digit wins for him against the spread. First one to crack the 100-win barrier this year. And then in last place, of course, it is Tim Undergust.
Tim Undergust.
That's not my name. However, I did have a pretty good week. So
you did.
You got 9 and 5, something like that.
You were 9-5 for the week. That leaves you one game behind the Coin at 92 and 102. You were the first one to crack 100 losses this year.
Yeah.
The Coin and myself both went 7-7, so I am 5 games behind Geoff, who was 10-4. He went 104 and 90 is Geoff's record right now. I'm 99 and 95. Geoff and I both lost our super locks. No, Geoff won. Geoff won his super lock. Tim won his super lock. I lost my super lock. So it's 10-3 for me, 9-4 for Geoff, 6-7 for Tim and the New England Patriots. Not only that, you took $200 of my money in the Monday night game. Wish I would have known it was 60-mile-per-hour winds or whatever it was when we made the bet on Tuesday. But, them's the breaks when you bet early. Nothing I can do about it now. I turned it off at half, and then I watched the rest of it this morning and just it was fun to watch because you just don't see it's such an outlier type game that's like, hey, this is pretty cool. But then you start watching it and like, this is a slog. At least they kept running the ball over and over, so the game was really fast. But Geoff, I want to throw this to you. I feel like I posed this question to Seeley, that I think that we're going to get a big break on one of these weather games. They're going to just crush the over-under down to like 30.5. And realistically, the reason why no one could move the ball in the Bills and Patriots game is because of the wind. It really wasn't the snow. It wasn't the cold. It wasn't anything like that. It was, you couldn't do anything because of the wind. So now people are going to look at a game where it's like, oh my God, it's snowing, a little bit rainy, and it's like right around freezing. But that usually doesn't stunt the offense as much as anything, unless there's like 35-mile-per-hour winds. So I feel like we're going to get the trap laid down there for us at some point. We just have to be able to identify it.
Yeah, I mean, also it hurts when the Bills went into the red zone a ton and they couldn't score touchdowns, right? I think 4 trips into the red zone, they get points on one of them. So there'll be one of those games where teams just convert when they actually get into the red zone. And yeah, you would clear your overs potentially on a super low number just on that alone. Bill Belichick literally played the clock last night. It's like he didn't even care who an opponent was. He just played the clock. And I don't know. I don't want to turn into next morning radio, Pat, but I was literally listening to local Bills post-game radio after that game last night. I was intrigued. And I will say, I lost money on the Bills. Very annoyed. It was a TV game that got me excited that I overbet, and I was wrong on. But my bigger sweat felt like having to sweat my Josh Allen rushing yards. And I was one of the lucky ones that didn't wait till the end of the day to get it. So I had 35.5, 36.5, and 37.5. I had buddies that betted at the close at 39.5, and he finished on 39. But I don't know. I accuse the Bills of malpractice for not just running him more. Yeah, that's, I guess, all I have to say. By attrition, we got that at the end.
One of the worst coached games I have seen in a very, very long time. Just abysmal. Like, just an abysmal performance from McDermott. Every decision you could make, he just made all the wrong calls. And that loss hangs on him. And this team is now not going to be able to win the division, probably. Going to have to play on the road in the playoffs. And they can thank their coach for his ineptitude for that.
I thought it was interesting when I was reading some of the reactions to it, because I had the thought in real time when I was watching it, when the Bills had the wind with them in the first half, that someone articulated the point much better than me, and I completely forget who it was now, is that they should have just been running like the 2-minute drill every time that they had the wind at their back. Just, let's maximize our amount of plays here and then do what the Patriots did when the wind was in your face. Like that was the strategy. They just couldn't employ it.
The Bills started the game, Pat, I want to say, with 2 possessions at midfield or inside. They got 0 points. I think they ran the ball 5 of the 6 times. They started that game with no creativity. They had the wind at their back for 4 goddamn years. Buffalo Bills media and PR have told us, and I believe them because my eyes have seen it, that Josh can pierce the wind. And I don't know what they were doing. And I give a ton of respect to the Patriots. That's not the first team they've held in check. But I will say, I don't believe Bill Belichick was spending the night taking away your ability to get 4.5 yards on first down if you just use your best running back, who isn't even a running back. And I get not wanting to have him take 20 carries and be used. He's worth too much money that way. But it was halftime. He had 2 runs for 7 yards at halftime. He runs more in a nice Florida day than that, let alone a game that actually required that truculence, that part of the reason he's so special. And every time they got into the red zone, bad things happened to them, and they deserved it, because they didn't design anything for him to just get 4 yards.
Fun times. So when you look at whether it be DVOA or from Football Outsiders or PFF's grades, that game kind of broke everyone's modeling, because when you go look at it right now, Tim, who do you think the 2 best teams are in the league right now in coverage rate?
Well, Buffalo would definitely have to be one of them because there were no passes.
They're number one. They're number one. The Patriots are number two, and it's by a pretty wide margin.
Yeah. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, they shouldn't even put those numbers into the model, or the model kind of isn't useful. I don't know. I don't know what else to say other than just Bill Belichick once again showed why he's just smarter than everybody else, because he just designed something and just follows through with it. And other people just make stupid decisions all around him and let him win. Happens year after year after year after year. It's never going to stop. As long as the team is halfway decent, this is never going to stop. The Patriots are going to the Super Bowl. If you don't think they're going to the Super Bowl, you are lying to yourself. You know what's going to happen. You understand that the playoffs are going through Foxborough. You can talk yourself into Kansas City. You can talk yourself into Tennessee, or whoever you want.
Who can win 3 straight games other than them?
We all know the Patriots will have to win 2 games because they'll have the bye, both in Foxborough. Good luck picking against the Patriots. It's a fait accompli unless somebody gets seriously hurt. I'm sorry. We all know this.
There's actually a team in the AFC who would probably end up playing them in the second round, who I would actually really like against them. But I don't know if that team can get out of the first round is the problem. And it would be Indianapolis. I think Indianapolis.
Play them in 2 weeks. The Patriots are going to crush them in 2 weeks.
We'll see.
Crush them.
I think that they're kind of like mirror-esque teams. It's just the overall, like, the top end. I mean, listen, the Patriots are going to be favored in that game for sure. It's not like I'm guaranteeing an Indy win. But I think that the teams are very similar in their construction, except the highest end talent at the skill positions actually does rest with Indianapolis. The depth and the team unity rests with the Patriots, and the coaching obviously rests with the Patriots. But like Jonathan Taylor is better than anyone that the Patriots can run out there. Michael Pittman is better than any receiver that the Patriots can run out there. Now, after that, it gets a little bit dicey, but at the very high end, and sometimes that's all it takes in a do or die type game.
There have been so many games where the other team had the better weapon at running back, receiver, maybe even at times you would argue quarterback. I know, as crazy as it sounds, there were a lot of times where I fell for it too. And lost. Clearly,
it doesn't matter.
Do you want to know the craziest stat though? Going back to the Bills for just a moment, I don't know if you've seen this, but the 5 quarterbacks that they've lost to this year didn't even do anything. Ben went 18 of 32 for 188. Tannehill 18 for 29 for 216 and a pick. Lawrence 15 of 26 for 188, no picks, no touchdowns. Wentz 11 of 20 for 106 and a touchdown, and Jones 2 of 3 for 19 yards. It's amazing to think how badly Buffalo can get bullied at the line of scrimmage.
They are soft. I've been saying this for weeks, and it keeps being true.
We're not even previewing their game yet. I will say, in defense of Buffalo, this league is so screwed up. Every time there's a day like this, it's not even Monday, I'm now confused, but every time you feel this low about your team,
they bounce back.
I don't know. Now they're gonna throw a haymaker in a big game this Sunday that we'll preview in a few minutes, I'm sure.
All right, well, let's get to the Thursday game first. It is Pittsburgh at Minnesota. Minnesota is a 3-point favorite in this game. Adam Thielen going to be nowhere to be found in this contest because it looks like he is out for an extended period of time, maybe 4 to 6 weeks, depending on how severe his ankle injury is. But realistically, I feel bad for Kirk Cousins, Geoff, because he no matter what he did against the Lions, the curse was just too much to overcome. So RIP Kirk Cousins. We'll see where they're at right here. I like the Vikings in this game. Even though the Steelers beat the Ravens, the Steelers just seem like they're so bad when you watch them. At least they got more into their like dink and dunk offense where it didn't involve Ben trying to like throw sideline passes that are just going to result in pick sixes or hilarious incompletions. At least they played within themselves because that's all they had to do against this like broken Ravens team. But I do think that Minnesota is going to be able to move the ball on them. And if it does get into the situation where they're indoors and Cousins can still drop back and bomb it to Jefferson and KJ Osborne and Alexander Madison can do some work on the ground or out of the backfield. If they have to play a game where they need offense, they're not playing the Chargers. I mean, they're playing the NFC version of the Chargers, but even without Everson Griffin, the Minnesota defense is still better than the Chargers defense at this point and actually stopping people, unless it's the very last drive of the game. They're not so good at that, as it turns out. So I like the Vikings -3 here.
at this point, they just lost to the Lions, a team that was 0-10. So I'm going to start to take offense to being the NFC Vikings, but I am with you totally. Give me the Vikings. In climate control, they'll be able to probably do a lot of the same things on offense that the Chargers were able to do on Sunday night a couple weeks ago. Just as you mentioned, I'm enjoying Pittsburgh a lot though now, right? And it's almost like some level of weird checkers or maybe chess from Ben if he knows how to play it. But to leak that story or to have that story come out, it's almost like his way of trying to like galvanize the boys. Maybe let's do something for the Gipper here. And then he has a chance on Sunday to confirm the story. And he doesn't confirm it or like why he hasn't told certain people he's like, well, I haven't told everybody, but that doesn't mean it's not true sort of thing. Like I've only told selective people. So like just a really weird thing there, but in some ways, maybe it galvanized the locker room, but it's fun. And Pittsburgh's going to have a superstar QB next year. That team's so good with Watt and Minka, Pat. They're going to be aggressive with whatever draft picks that they have there. They're a nice situation for a good veteran QB to come in, a great Steeler culture. I'm telling you, they're going to be on the short list of a lot of these guys looking to move. Exciting times.
The Watt situation from last week where he was put on the COVID list and then was able to clear it with 2 negative tests on Saturday is good news for your boy Keenan Allen this week.
Who is vaccinated. So
yeah,
it leaves it possible.
It's possible that because it happened so early in the week. Like it happened on a Monday morning, same as Watt. So it gives you the entire week because we've seen midweek, even with the vaccinated players, that there's just not enough turnaround time to get the 2 negative tests.
And I've seen a lot of jokes. The league doesn't do like Sunday reports. I wonder why.
Yeah.
LOL.
Big shocker there. From the Minnesota side of the ball, Dalvin Cook actually returned to limited practice. I don't know if he's going to play this week, but that's at least good news for them moving forward. Kendricks and Barr both practiced in full, so they're going to be a go for Thursday night. Tim, you love Minnesota. You're taking Minnesota, right?
I did. And to be fair, Cousins played really well last week. 30 of 40 for 340, 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. He played fine. In fact, played better than fine. He played really well.
Yeah.
The defense let them down. He won them the game. The defense let them down.
He won the game, did they?
He won them the game, and the defense could not hold the Lions for like 80 yards, and let Jared Goff march down the field.
Do you know why?
The Vikings have lost.
Do you know why that's the case? And they're cursed.
I don't believe that's true. It's bad defense. The Vikings have lost by 8 points or fewer in every single game they've played. They could easily have won every game that they've played this year. It's quite remarkable. Yes, they're going to be Pittsburgh. They're a much better team than Pittsburgh, and you're only laying 3. Give me Pittsburgh. Or the Vikings, sorry. Give me the Vikings.
All right, so it's a round of Vikings, coin included. So put the farm on Pittsburgh money line, and then you'll probably end up winning. Let's go into Sunday. Dallas Cowboys at Washington. This is the kickoff of what we talked about a few weeks ago, that if Washington can win out, they are going to win the division. It starts here. They continue to win. They are 3.5-point dogs at home. Dallas is now 9-3 against the spread this season after covering against the Saints on Thursday night in Taysom Hill. So they're coming off this mini bye. 48 is the over-under. Geoff, do you have a specific lead here? Because I kind of want to take Washington.
Yeah, I want to take Washington because that's a more fun narrative. But I feel like in the same way, people are going to get sucked into Washington this week, Pat. You could argue that's like a microcosm of us getting sucked into Washington being better than Dallas. Like I like Dallas to win the division all year, all summer. And then like 5 days before we record our season preview, our win totals, all that fun stuff, I like flip-flop like a lot of people. Like, no, that would be fun. Like I'll do that. I'm worried about, I haven't looked into it, but I'm worried about conditions potentially in this game. Like I feel like it could set up perfectly for Washington if it's just like a slushy, sloggy, DC metro area sort of afternoon. But I still just see the talent element on Dallas, especially if they are back to being healthy on wide receiver. And I could argue maybe we're getting a little value just because of, I think people like are buying into like how fun it would be to see Washington pull this off. My voice changed there. That was weird. Pull this off.
I'm with you. Like the one part of like the defense for Washington, weirdly, since Chase Young went down, has been really good because they continue to pester the quarterback. But if Dallas's offensive line is back to full health, like that's not going to be an issue for them. And Washington still struggles so mightily in coverage that Dallas is sort of the perfect team to take advantage of them. I just looked at the weather. It looks like it's going to be like sunny and or cloudy and like 32 degrees. So it's going to be very, very cold. Dallas, an indoor team going outdoors into the cold. I don't know if that's going to be the biggest thing for them, but this whole Zeke situation, Tim, is kind of weird where he's clearly not 100% and Pollard looks so good, but does Pollard only look good because of the way that they use him to spell Zeke? And if they gave him 25 touches, he wouldn't be good. Like, I just don't understand what the point of playing Zeke right now is when he's clearly not 100%.
Because they pay him more money than God, and they're going to play him because that's what they're going to do. He sells tickets. He's a big name.
Okay, so hold on.
He doesn't sell a single ticket.
Stop. Full stop. Zeke doesn't play this week. People aren't going to the game. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they're the Cowboys.
No,
the Cowboys sell tickets.
This is the way McCarthy and the front brass think. They love Zeke. Zeke is going to get the ball if he can play. That's just how it is. It is not going to change, and as long as he's there, it is never going to change. Sorry, I don't agree with it either, but that is just simply those are the facts on the ground. That's how it's going to be.
Pollard reminds me of Michael Turner, but Zeke isn't nearly as talented as LaDainian Tomlinson was.
Michael Turner was more of a brew. Like it's funny because Pollard.
He had engines though. You're right. He wasn't as super fast, but he had a motor that could go like 70 to the house that people think underrated, and he did it both for San Diego and Atlanta. But I don't know. Pollard's got to be.
Michael Turner was like peak Lendale White.
That's a better. Before he quit the tequila and lost all that weight.
Yeah, when you would see Lendale White run away from a defense, you're like, what is going on here? How can no one catch this guy? He's just like a little tank. And it's like, isn't he fat? Should he not be this fast? And then no one can catch up to him. It's kind of weird. So, what were you going to say, Tim?
I said I love the Washington football team in this game. Tease them up to 10.5. First part of a free money teaser. Dallas has not looked impressive in well over a month, and I see no reason to believe that they're going to easily cover against a decent team here. Plus, if you don't take Washington here, there's really no other home dog worth taking this week. So I got to take one somewhere. The underdogs are covering at a crazy clip this season, and the only other home dogs are the Jets and Texans, and I want nothing to do with them. So Dallas
didn't impress you last week?
No, that was terrible. That team looked dead. New Orleans has got nothing, and they had to have multiple interceptions at the end of the game to cover the number and to put the game away. No, I wasn't impressed by Dallas at all. I have been impressed with Dallas 4 weeks. For a team that I was told earlier in the year was like a Super Bowl contender. No, they're not. They're a contender for getting bounced in the first round against a real team. I like Washington here.
I'm going with Dallas -3.5. I'm kind of with you, Geoff, that this run by Washington, this game should be I don't want to say 6.5, but if you made it 6.5, I would still think about taking Dallas. So 3.5 seems really good to me. I just think that they're the better team. And the way that they are aligned on offense, that they will be able to take advantage of Washington down the field with these intermediate routes, with these deep routes. Amare should be, with another 10 days off, coming off the COVID. He missed 2 games because of COVID. He did not look 100% in that Thursday nighter. Hopefully his cardio is back up. And when you can run out your offense at full health, even if you put Pollard back there, you give Dak another 10 days off to rest the calf. That it just feels like they can be striking on all cylinders right now. I think the fan in me, who just enjoys football, wants to see Washington win this game. If I'm going to bet it, I'm going to bet Dallas.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you said. The fan in me would love for it to turn into the typical Christmas NFC East shit show. But here's a chance to sort of recoup my shitty prediction. Well, maybe not shitty prediction. One I'll take credit for if it works out somehow in the end on Washington. But I'm going to take Dallas to, I guess, what would probably make their division win probability 100%. If they won this one, 97.
Do they have 2 left against the Eagles as well? Dallas?
I can look that up. I think you're right. I know that they've got 2 against Washington and 1 more against New York, but let me look that up.
Now, only one. The Eagles go, coming off their bye week, they go Washington, Giants, Washington, Cowboys. If they win all 4 of those, I mean, I don't know who Dallas plays. I mean, they play Washington twice, obviously. They must play the Giants again. Or they play Philly in week 17.
Dallas plays
But they've also
Washington,
got the Cardinals. Ugh. Yeah, Dallas.
Washington Giants, Washington, Arizona, Philly.
All old school NFC East games all the way down the stretch.
Yeah, so they lose to the Cardinals, they lose to the Eagles, and drop one of them to Washington. Like, Philly is super live in the division again, too.
So then I guess we could still get that shit show with that NFC East shit show because the Eagles and Cowboys play week 17 too.
Yes, exactly. So Dallas for Jeff and I, Washington for Coin and Tim. Jacksonville in Tennessee. Tennessee coming off the bye. They've activated Julio Jones from injured reserve. No word yet on whether or not he's going to play. -9.5 is the spread. 44 is the total right now. I really want to take Jacksonville, but
I do too.
Me three.
I have no rhyme or reason of why I want to take Jacksonville because they look putrid every single week. But this seems like if Derrick Henry was playing in this game, what would the line be? Like 10.5 for some reason? Like it wouldn't be like 14.
No, it wouldn't be because it's a divisional game. I mean, the Titans are another team that just haven't looked good in a while. Yeah, they're coming off a bye. I don't know what to expect out of them. And it's in division, and I'm being asked for them to cover 10 points. I don't believe it'll happen. I'm going to take Jacksonville.
Well, you know what happened. They lost Derrick Henry. They lost Julio Jones.
No, I know what
AJ
happened to them. I don't know what to expect out of them in this game. Like, I've seen them just play poorly also for a month. And now I'm being told I have to expect them to cover a double digit, to win by double digits. And I just don't think that I can pick that in division right now. I'll take Jacksonville.
The coin is going with Jacksonville too, Jeff. Where are you going?
Look at the point totals for the Titans pretty much since they went to hell with the injuries. Like they scored 13 versus Houston. Right?
Yeah. But yes.
They're not going to. So Jacksonville won't have to do much to get us to this number. Like they won't. Jacksonville, I don't know if it's real money yet, but picking it like it's easy Jacksonville to say. Tennessee's a team that, I mean, it's a lot of points. How do I put this? Like they're a dead fish to me. Like even with a playoff spot.
Yeah, but maybe not though, because as long as they can win this game and they beat the Texans, they probably still win the division. And by the time January 3rd rolls around, there's Julio Jones, there's AJ Brown, there's probably Derrick Henry too, and all of a sudden they're the same team, they're the good team again, and they're in the playoffs.
Well, that would be different.
But that's what like the injury timeline is shaping up to be, as long as they can get in.
I don't know that Henry would play that late in the season when they have a playoff spot locked up.
No, that's what I mean. I'm talking about round 1 of the playoffs, whatever the hell that is.
Yeah, which is like
10th.
Oh no!
Like the 7th. It's so annoying how long this season is. It's painful how much more we still have to
January 9th is the Sunday of week 18.
Really?
Yeah,
Pat.
Football season has to either start earlier in the year or I don't know. This 18th game is dumb and it needs to be done away with.
This is the longest football season ever, like actually, because they've added a week. But it literally feels like this is the longest it's taken to get to week 14 also.
I agree. People are always like,
I don't know.
People are always like, oh, football. Wow, it's already week 14. I was like, you mean already? It definitely feels like 14 weeks. Like this time has not flown by. It feels like it's taken exactly as long as it should have.
They're not doing the bye week in between the conference games and Super Bowl this year, are they?
Oh, of course they are. The Super Bowl is on like
the 15th, I think.
On like February 14th or something. Yeah.
Interesting. All right, I'm going to take Jacksonville along with you guys. 9.5 seems like a lot. Seattle and Houston. Houston is favored. Houston is a 7.5 point underdog at home against El Seahawks, or Los Seahawks, as I guess they would be on Latino night if they wore those jerseys like the NBA. It'd be like the El Heat, but Los Seahawks. 41.5 is the over-under. Looks like we're getting Davis Mills in this game. Detective Mills is back on the case for the Texans because apparently Tyrod has a wrist injury in his non-throwing hand. So they're going to start Davis Mills instead. The Seahawks, I don't feel like they should have beat the 49ers, but they did. So Russell looked a lot better in that game than he had at any point since his return. Maybe he's returning back to full health. They included DK Metcalf in their offense. That's always a positive. Adrian Peterson almost averaged 2 yards per carry in that game, despite having the most carries of any Seahawks. I still don't think the Seahawks are any good, is the thing. I'm going to take the Texans to cover the 7.5. I'm going to hold my nose, just say this. The Texans, the one thing they can still do well is get to the passer. The Seahawks have no offensive line. And you know, if the Seahawks build a lead in this game, they will literally run Adrian Peterson for 1 yard and a cloud of dust as many times as they possibly can, which will just help the Texans cover. Hopefully they can score a point this week. That would be nice.
I mean, this is the time of year now for the Seahawks to start screwing my draft pick over and winning these sorts of games to drive that draft pick lower. So I feel very confident in the Seattle Seahawks in this game. They're on the teaser. Bring them down to minus 0.5. They're going to win this game comfortably. I mean, I picked Seattle last week against the Niners only because that just was it was a classic spot game where just Seattle had to be the play. And I feel it's the same here, that there's going to be a lot of people who say, well, you know, Seattle's still 4-8. They're not very good. You're getting a lot of points to take a home dog, but like Seattle is bad, but the Texans are really bad.
Oh yeah, the Texans are the worst team in football by a pretty substantial margin.
And so that's why we take Seattle here.
This could be.
Go ahead, Geoff.
You can go.
No, I was just going to say, Seattle seems like they're going to do, like, even to beat San Francisco last week, like the opening kickoff, Trenton Cannon has to be carted off the field in an ambulance, and it throws off the entire game. They run a fake punt that goes 80 yards for a touchdown. Like,
that reminds me, I talked about this with somebody yesterday. If you are the punt returner, if you or I are the punt returner on that play, and we see that guy coming, we have a 30-yard head start, we could just tackle him, right? How does that punt returner not tackle Travis Homer? Like, doesn't anybody who's got a 30-yard head start, like the punt returner does, have an ability to just knock that guy out of bounds?
I mean, yes and no. But I mean, not really. Yeah, but that's the hardest part about playing defense is now you have so much space to close on a player who's already at full speed. By the time that you get up to him in order to tackle him, he makes one move to the left. All your center of balance is thrown off. So given more space with a full running head start, it's actually much easier to avoid people.
Okay. I mean, I just feel like if from 30 yards or 40 yards out, like a punt returner, you should be able to at least lay a glove on him, which they didn't.
Well, you sell out to make the tackle, and you kind of have to pick your line. If the guy makes a move, you're toast.
Fair. If I knew he was on a straight line, I think I could make the tackle.
Why would he be running in a straight line? Was he running a fucking 40-yard dash on the field mid-game?
No, he wouldn't be.
So in your hypothetical situation, that would never happen. You feel like you could do something positive.
That is what I am saying. Yes.
Congratulations. That's very good. Geoff, who are you taking?
Okay. I could make this a super lock, which sounds crazy. And it's so dumb to probably like Seattle because it almost goes against the argument I made a game ago or whenever we took Jacksonville. Like, I don't think I'll need to score that much to get the cover taking the underdog here. But Houston is going to finish the season so bad, so poorly. Everything that we thought they really would be when people said, no, this is as bad as an expansion team at training camp when they beat Urban Meyer, who's a loser, laughing stock, week one. They're that team. They're that team. They're the team that everyone projected them to be. Their last 5 weeks are going to be atrocious and painful. They're dead last in the league in yards per play. They're dead last in the league in EPA. When this season's over, friends, I would expect almost them to even have the number one pick.
You think Detroit's going to win 2 more games? Who has the tiebreaker there? Do we know?
I don't know. It would go to...
There'll be no tie because Detroit has a tie.
Has a tie. That's right, yeah.
They can't tie.
But now Detroit still has to beat someone else.
Oh, shoot. I forgot about that Detroit tie.
Yeah, but Detroit wins a game. They're ahead of Houston.
Yeah. So Houston is not winning again. I think
but is Detroit
again?
You think Detroit can win again, but can they?
I don't know. I'm just saying, if you're telling me who might win again, I think it's going to be Detroit. And I'll tell you, these Texans play Jacksonville next week. I don't think Detroit is a team as bad as Jacksonville on their schedule
I think
left.
Detroit could win. I think Detroit could legit win this week.
Yeah, I do too. But I'm just saying, like, it is so bad there. They can't even commit to this coach for next year. They just hired him this offseason, and they knew the season was going to be horrible. They don't even want to commit to this coach, which is hyper weird because it's a team that's so bad, that's playing for nothing, that you have to at least let the players know who they're. They can't slack off for a guy we're going to fire. Like, at least create the element, we might keep this guy, and you need to respect him.
Is there a situation?
Oh, that's crazy. They won't even commit to this.
Well,
coach.
I think they're leaving everything open to see what happens with Watson. Honestly,
what does that have to do with the coach?
Because you bring in a good coach if you have Watson back. Let's
Watson never
fair. Yeah.
Watson never takes a snap for them again.
He might not, but if you were living in the world where that could happen, and if this is what they're telegraphing, they want to bring back some like dead fish coach, they can actually bring in someone with Watson. You have the first or second pick. You leverage that first or second pick. You trade up with the Jets and get their 2 picks or something, or the Eagles and get their 2 picks. Draft 2 offensive linemen. All of a sudden you have Deshaun Watson, like a rebuilt offensive line. You still have a top 10 pass rush in football. This team's not bad anymore.
Yeah, no, based on the cloud surrounding Watson and like who knows how that develops or what the market is and how his case develops, and he might not want to sit out another full year of football if the legal process really slows down. If they hire a coach that he likes or maybe even has the slightest role in picking, I don't think it's the craziest thing to Pat's scenario to come to fruition there.
I think it's very, very, very unlikely. I mean, I'm on team. He probably never plays another snap again in his life. But
life?
Yeah, I think he's done for. Done, and should be done. Sorry, but just I don't want him playing anymore. If the allegations are true, like, I don't think any team is going to want to sign him. But certainly until the allegations are proven or decided in court, he doesn't take a snap, and that's going to take a very long time.
So he might not want to sit out a full other season and say, you know what, next year I'm going to report. Next year I'm going to
He
play.
reported this
I
year.
like the coach you hired.
He reported this year. The Texans
No,
are
so fine. I'm going to play this time too. Last time I reported, this time I'm going to report.
They were never going to play him this year. They were never going to play him this year. He could have asked every day, "Can you play me?" And they would have said, "No."
No, but maybe
No
next year they would play him.
I wouldn't.
Listen, you're not going to pay a guy like $40 million to not play for you at some point. And I think there had to have been a deal cut with the league to be like, look, we're going to continue to pay him because we can't suspend him. At least we don't want to suspend him for these allegations until things come through. I think that he'll end up with, even if, I don't know how this is going to end up concluding, but if it's not as bad as it sounds and they get settled at a court, a lot like the Ben thing that happened like 15 years ago, he's going to get like time served for not playing this year. So,
or the Texans will just simply void his contract once that happens, and it'll be over, and he'll be a free agent and never play again.
It'll be a Carolina Panther.
I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think any owner wants to bring him in, unless he's found not guilty of all charges. Sorry, no, he won't play anymore. That's just how it is.
I think
new world 2020. You underestimate what the world of 2021, 2022 looks like vis-a-vis 2009 or 2015 or 2012.
I think that you're correct in saying that, but I think you also completely underestimate that one of these 32 guys who own these teams want. The hardest thing you can do in football is find a good quarterback, and we know he's a good quarterback. That's someone.
Missed 1 year.
You don't.
If he misses 2, then it's kind of done for anyway.
What's that?
If he misses 2, then like who wants him anyway?
Look at Michael Vick. What do you mean? Look at what he was in third. No. I disagree. Watson 2 years away. I don't think that would.
After 2 years away from the sport, if that were the case, or 3 years away from saying, like, I don't think anybody's going to want anything to do with him unless he's found not guilty. I'm sorry. I don't think any owner can bring him in. And I don't think any owner would, any coaching staff would consider it. Sorry, that's my opinion.
I guarantee, considering that people are trying to trade for him at the trade deadline, I think that people are considering it, Tim.
Well, we actually don't know whether they were actually trying to trade for it. That's all.
There are reports that Miami was like, do your settlements, get settlements done, and I'll trade for you. They didn't care whether he was guilty or not, so long as he paid the money to make it go away.
Take your stance on that. I don't think we ever see him play again. I don't think there's any tolerance for it. As soon as the issues are solved, the league will then like suspend him for a year immediately. So then you've got now he's gone for 2 years. I'm like, so what? Then like he's yesterday's news, forgotten and gone.
I mean, the same thing happened. I mean, Vic how long was Vic in jail for?
Vic was older when he went to jail. He would have been able to
also
work.
brought in on a super cheap contract and as a backup.
Well, he might, you know what? Watson may have to do the same thing, but if they do think that there's talent still with him, someone will sign him.
If your future for Watson's next 3 years are what you say they will be, then he will probably have to return on a super cheap team friendly zero wiggle room sort of contract. And I would think he'll be better. Like he'll be better than Vic was when he came back. And Vic had like many Magic Man moments for like the Eagles.
Yeah. He signed another $100 million deal after coming back.
Yeah.
So
we will see.
Vegas and Kansas City. Kansas City's favored by 9.5 points. 48.5 is the over-under. How the hell did the Chiefs cover against the Broncos on Sunday night? It just seemed like the backdoor cover was there for like a quarter and a half for the Broncos, and they just could not take it. And Geoff, you watch these AFC West games a lot closer than I think most people do. Is Kansas City's defense for real?
Listen, you said this early in the year, Pat, and I never really disagreed with you. You just said, give them time. They don't have to be great. They just have to get better. They just don't need to be nut low. And it resembles very much like the year they won the Super Bowl. Are they better? Are they as good as the stats of the last month? Probably not. But what has been established is they're not nut low anymore. And if they can figure it out, and, you know, I have the faith that quarterback can figure it out, they'll be fine. And it's so funny to think like, I got annoyed a couple weeks ago when and I was upset. I was upset on last week's show. The Chargers lose a couple games in a row. I'm upset. People are writing like insane things, like articles, you know, even comparing, you know, the draft again and how the Chargers, not so much picking on Herbert, but how they're like just bad. I'm like, how can you just come to the conclusion we're bad? We might be inconsistent, but we're not bad. And then you think the Chiefs, who went to 3 straight AFC championship games, struggled for like a 3-4 week period and were declared like bad and done. So obviously a team that's proven nothing like the Chargers struggles for 2 weeks, they're bad again. Like that's just how it works. But how many times were the Patriots like bad in September, but amazing when it mattered? That the division never got away from them. And maybe that was the part of like Oakland and Vegas, Denver, and the Chargers, no one being like too good to get away from the Chiefs and them also just sort of being, you know, mediocre in a sense. So the Chiefs always hung in the race. And all those years, no one was good enough outside a couple Jet seasons in the AFC. So the Patriots could be shit in September. And I think the Chiefs kind of have that same, like, that's probably what happened this year.
Are you worried about a look ahead here to next Thursday night where basically it decides the division?
Am I worried about a look ahead for Kansas City? I'm more worried about a look ahead for the Chargers because we lack the experience and probably the maturity, and we don't have a coach as seasoned as Andy Reid. So,
well, I mean, you don't know that because you can't see the Monday pressers. Maybe he is. You just don't know.
Okay.
No, save it for your team, Geoff. Save it.
Well, I'm excited.
I know you.
And I hold myself responsible, and I'll tell you how I did it. How I believe I did it. And what, but I don't know. Will it be a look? I think the Raiders cover. But geez, the Raiders represent a matchup that we saw on that Sunday night that really lets the Chiefs get their mojo going. Like one thing I learned firsthand experience, bent over, was how much the Chiefs, Andy Reid, Bieniemy, and Mahomes love playing a Gus Bradley defense. It's like they know what's going to happen on every play. It's like they've seen it forever for someone else. So I don't even know how to gauge Raiders versus Chiefs because I think the Raiders are just such a bad matchup. Like the Chiefs can just own them. Shit. But they play Thursday. Give me the Raiders. I don't like it, but give me the Raiders, who I love. I got to tell you, I love the new reality of the Raiders. They don't get home games anymore, guys. They do not play home games. They get invaded. They get invaded in ways that I know I'm all too familiar with. And some of the images I've seen, they're getting invaded in ways I don't think I've ever even been invaded.
The burgundy and gold in that stadium last week that you showed me when they played Washington was extraordinary. You would never have seen that in the Black Hole. Never in a million years.
Well,
Not a million years.
Do you think this, like in a big macro way, really does help out the Chargers and people coming in to invade their stadium? Because the only people that will invade SoFi when the Chargers are playing are going to be like locals. You're not going to get as many like, oh, we can get cheap tickets in LA. Let's fly into LA to watch a game. Or people who come from away to go see, you know, their favorite team play. It's just more fun to go to Vegas for 3 days and just go to a Raiders game if tickets are
Now,
available.
what will that Chargers at Raiders game look like?
No, the Chargers.
No one will go.
Nobody can go. There'll be just
But
nothing.
yes, the Charger at Raider game dynamic is actually pretty weird. I was giggling to myself about that. Like it's not like the Charger fans will go to the Raiders, although I'm so excited. Even my wife is excited, like enjoys the fact that Chargers will play the Raiders once a year in Vegas for the rest of my life. And I would have, the game was week. It's the last week of the regular season, and that's not a game I book a trip to, because if the team's bad, I'm not paying money to go see a bad team finish a season. And if they're a playoff worthy team, I think I'm just saving my money to go to a playoff game. So it's a bad scheduling spot for me to attend. But yeah, that is strange. Nonetheless, give me, I don't like it because I made fun of them, but give me the Raiders. Somehow just keep this game within that number.
I'm gonna take the Raiders as well. 9.5 is a lot. It's probably gonna go up, to tell you the truth. Although that spread worked its way back towards Denver on Sunday night, which actually really surprised me. I didn't realize there was that much handle coming in on the Denver Broncos against the Kansas City Chiefs. But early game, like you said, a look-ahead spot to Thursday. It doesn't feel like they're going to have to do too much in this game to beat the Raiders. And I mean, this could be completely wrong, but based on my memory, the Raiders always play the Chiefs better in Kansas City than they do at home.
I think you're right. At least the last couple of years.
Yeah.
They beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead last year. Anyway, I think it's a bombs away game for the Chiefs. I like the Chiefs to cover the number. We are teasing them down. They're the third end of the tease.
Kansas City -2.5.
Yep.
As an update, not only was Kirk Cousins cursed in his own game, Cust cursed Kirk Cousins and his free money teaser last week because it just had Minnesota pick 'em on it. That was the loss on the teaser last week, if people were wondering.
It's tough. And of course, a friend of ours had a big ticket to win. And all he needed was on his multi-game parlay was for the Lions not to come back to win that game. And it unfortunately all crashed down around him.
Yeah, not great, Tim. I think you owe him money, but we'll talk about that moving forward. It was his birthday weekend, too. Just shame on you, pal. Saints at Jets. Ooh, this is fun. Somehow the Saints are 5-point favorites here in Gotham. 43 is the over-under. It looks like we're getting Taysom Hill again, although apparently his hand is shattered, but I guess when you can't throw the ball anyway, it doesn't really make that big of a difference. I want to bet this game, Geoff, and I want to bet the Saints big at -5, but I have to see this defensive injury report first because the Saints have like half their guys back on defense. The Jets are scoring like 10 points.
Yeah, I mean, that is crucial. I will say, Tim, I was early in that day. I was so happy just to see, like, I was happy for you. Wilson's making touchdowns happen. It looks great. This is a day that, you know, as bad as the season is, it's just enough positives, good things, maybe a day full of good things, win or lose. And then I don't know.
Then they went full
the second
Jets.
half just ruined everything.
They went full Jets.
Yeah, I mean, Wilson played really well, but nevertheless, I mean, by the numbers, he actually had a very good game.
He played okay. I mean, he got set up, on the 5-yard line to begin the game and ended up with a touchdown and didn't really do much after that. Like you were making fun of Tua's stat line, and Zach Wilson had fewer yards per attempt.
Yeah, well, Tua, the greatest quarterback to have ever come into our lives.
No one has said that.
You should go on Dolphins Reddit. The hagiography that's going on there is beyond belief. Don't tell me that there is nobody talking about how great that Tua is, because that's all I'm reading. So,
well, how about let me suggest not going on Dolphins Reddit and reading about Tua, because you're just not really gonna, but you're not gonna hear anything about him.
I can't help it. I need to go. If you don't think I was traipsing about in Bill's boards last night, you're very mistaken. I need to get behind enemy lines and see what the other AFC East teams are doing. That's just who I am. It's where I'm coming from.
So you're surprised that a team who's won 5 in a row with a quarterback that everyone told them is absolute dog shit is playing really well right now. Like, even when you look at the Pro Football Focus grades, the number 1 graded quarterback of November, the number 1 graded quarterback last week. Think about how excited you get when your quarterback doesn't play like absolutely the worst quarterback in football. You then proclaim he's the best, even though it's like a bottom 5 performance. So when teams are actually playing well and a quarterback is actually playing well, you are surprised that the fan base is excited about it.
Yeah, no, not just excited. Jubilation is the word I would use to describe that subreddit. But that's fine. We're talking.
Wouldn't you, though, quickly before we just get to the Jets? In some ways, right? This could be potentially, like, if what you believe about Tua is true, then you could argue what's happening is actually like gonna benefit you in the end, because it's gonna leave the Dolphins
totally
with this
totally.
They forget that, like, for 5 months they tried to acquire or look for other potential quarterbacks and have now fallen back in love with a guy who they wanted to potentially just replace, who then next year could end up turning back into the pumpkin that
we all, that you and I both know that he is. Yeah, look, I would love for the 2022 season to begin with Tua Tagovailoa as the quarterback for the Dolphins. That would, as a fan of a team in the AFC East that next year should be really, really competitive, there's nothing I would like more than seeing one of my 4 competitors. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what's going on here. There's nothing I would be more happy than to see a team wave the white flag on their season, as the Dolphins would be if they start 2-1 next year. So great. I hope they win the rest of their games. I hope they go 10-7. I hope they, I hope they make the playoffs, because who wouldn't want to bet against Tua in the first round at Arrowhead?
What would happen that with all your Patriots big talk about how they can't not go to the Super Bowl? What if the Dolphins did win the Super Bowl? What would happen to you?
I would just I gotta just have to go to the beach, dig a hole, crawl in it, and just cry for a while. Listen to the waves crash while I cried. I couldn't show my face in public for weeks, because you know what it would be like for me everywhere I went.
Do you think your dad would just follow you around with Super Bowl gear for the Dolphins?
Yes, he would. He like me. He would have every piece of Super Bowl champion memorabilia you can imagine.
I don't even think they need to make the Super Bowl. Like, if they make the playoffs, I think like that would be a horrific experience for Tip.
Yes, it would. I'm seething just thinking about it. And it's probably gonna happen. Like, they're 6-7. They have no tough games left down the stretch. And all the other AFC teams, like the Bengals and the Bills, have really hard games left down the stretch. And I think I know the Dolphins get to play the Bills one more time, and they might even have the Bengals on their schedule. I don't know. But either way, like, the Dolphins have a super cupcake schedule, and there's not a lot of teams. Anyway, we're getting away from this game, which is Jets Saints. The Jets should win the game. The Jets are just as good as the Saints team. The Saints team is dead. We've seen that the last couple of weeks. They just don't have any juice. The game's outdoors. Of course, yet again, the league sets us up with a team coming off a mini bye. What a shock. It's a good thing that we're not good this year, because this would just be another example of the league out to get us in some ways. Which, as Geoff understands, I have to be careful about complaining about the league trying to get my team on, in public settings, because I'll be accused of being a crazy person, as that happened to you this week. But I like the Jets in this spot. I like them to cover the number. I think it's going to be a bad game, like 13-10, 17-13, something like that. So I like the Jets.
I'm going to take the Saints. I do want to see it. I'm not betting this until I see an injury report, though. Looks like Kamara might be back for this game, which is good news because the Jets can't stop anyone on defense.
No,
with
they cannot. They cannot.
And if you do have a three-headed rushing attack of Hill, Kamara, and Ingram, they might just do what the Patriots did on Monday night. They might run the ball 98% of the time, and they'll cover this number. But
there's a cruelty that my team, Paul's team, and Jeff's team all have some of the worst rush defenses you've seen in the NFL this year.
Hey, the Chargers are up to 10th worst run defense in football right now.
That's very impressive, I have to say. Well, they did a good job last week.
They're gonna do. So
Thank you.
Me and the coin are taking the Saints, Jeff. Tim is taking the Jets. I assume you're going to take your second favorite team.
No, I'm going to take the Saints here. You just look at the box score. You just see how many points the Jets give up to anybody not named the Texans, or even, even Tua got 24 on that. Which, if he's what Tim says he is, that's
and what you say.
That's like 48 for another quarterback.
That's fair. That's a fair statement.
I just think the Saints with the extra time, they'll figure out a way. They got to get off the mat. I saw some real sad, depressing CJ Mosley post-game comments about how they're really pissed. The Eagles were like making fun of Salah on the field and how they weren't the Eagles weren't showing them respect and didn't shake some hands or something. So the Jets, I don't know, they don't even respect themselves at the moment, it seems.
The Jets just placed Corey Davis on injured reserve. By Tim's logic, that's good for Zoomer Zach because Corey Davis doesn't try when Zach is the quarterback like he does for everyone else. These are Tim's words. They also, here we go, Tim, they also re-signed kicker Matt Amendola to replace that guy from last week who couldn't make an extra point.
Yeah, what an embarrassment that was. Amendola's no great shakes. But, like, who are we, the Chargers? Bringing in some guy who does nothing but miss extra points? Like, that was humiliating. He missed 2. They're like, you can't kick anymore. Like, it was just an embarrassment. I should have known right there, we can't win this game. We can't make an extra point. Like, I can miss extra points by as much as he was missing them by. That's no great talent.
I don't know about that, Tim. We have we have video of you kicking a ball off of a tee.
Well, from a hold and a tee are very similar.
They're not. That is actually not true.
They're not exactly the same, but they're relatively
okay.
Similar.
How come a kicker on a kickoff when it's on the tee can kick it through the end zone from his own 30-yard line, but he's not making 80-yard field goals
because he has a much further run up?
You think that's the only reason?
And nobody's rushing him.
You think that's the reason?
I think those are the primary reasons, yes. When kickers have the ball held, which sometimes happens on kickoffs when the weather is inclement, they kick it just about as far.
No, they don't. It's way shorter.
Well, that's true.
It is true. If that was the case, then people would go some sort of max protection from 75 yards instead of throwing Hail Marys if kickers could actually kick it that far on a consistent basis if it wasn't on the tee.
Well, kickers who kick it deep off kickoffs are really putting it through the uprights.
Some of them do.
Very, very rarely.
Okay. Don't believe me? Just go check the tape and watch them kick. It's actually slanted towards you on a tee, too. You know that, right? Like on a more...
Yeah, no, there are some advantages. There's no question.
It's all advantage.
Anyway.
And it's also held perfectly every time on a tee.
Well, that's fair, too. I'm just saying, he missed them all. I can miss them all.
That you could. That's true. So the Saints for everyone besides Tim. Atlanta and Carolina.
Ugh.
The Panthers are favored by 3. 42.5 is the over-under. This goes one of two ways, Jeff. Cam is awful and Atlanta steamrolls them, or Cam is like competent and just 180s what he did the last time out. Which one is it?
What is it? What's the game now? It's just Hubbard and Cam like plotting for 4 yards?
Amir Abdullah out of the backfield.
They just fired their offensive coordinator.
Why did they fire their offensive coordinator? Like, what was he given here to really work with?
Yeah, the great offensive genius that is Matt Rule. I guess he can just take things over and he can run the show.
Do you think this is because, Jeff, that throughout the course of the year that Cust kept saying how great Joe Brady was and how bad Matt Rule was that they had to fire Joe Brady? Maybe there's a reverse curse in play here.
Yeah, I have no idea. Wasn't Joe Brady interviewing for head coaching jobs last offseason?
I thought he was going to be the Texans. I thought he was going to be the Texans head coach.
Yeah, there were some reports, I think, that he was a front runner for that gig. I don't know. I'm gonna take the team off the bye. That's about it. I got totally nothing.
Yeah.
Totally nothing.
I got nothing too. I will take the Falcons only because I'm getting points. And I trust the Falcons a little bit more to generate offense than I do Carolina right now. But that's it.
What do we got here? Let's see. Game totals of 45 or less when the spread is under 7 points. The unders, Geoff, this year have hit 62% of the time. Maybe that's the bet on this game. Under 42.5.
The bet on this game is don't bet this game.
Maybe we want to bet on every game. Who'd you say you were taking, Tim?
Atlanta.
I'll go with a Cam rebound. Maybe he'll rush for 4 touchdowns or something. Let's see what the coin says. The coin says Atlanta. So Coin and Tim pairing up again. They're the tag team. You guys are like Money Inc. over there, except your money is burning money.
I can't get any separation on this coin. He's doing what the Patriots did to the Bills last night. He's just running me out of time.
I believe the coin's pronouns, Tim, are they/them.
Okay, okay. I'm just saying that the coin is doing everything that the coin can to preserve that one game lead. He's like a NASCAR.
I can't believe
they are preserving their 1 game lead, and they just picked opposite of you 3 games in a row.
I really wasn't paying too much of attention. Just it seems like the coin was picking a lot of the same picks I was picking.
I can't believe that Tim thinks he could run for 10 yards on 3 carries, but McDermott won't let Josh Allen do it.
It is remarkable, isn't it?
Incredible. That you have more self-confidence than McDermott has in his quarterback to just move sticks.
Baltimore and Cleveland. A rematch of that terrible Sunday night game from a few weeks ago. Cleveland's favored by 2.5 points in Cleveland. Over/under in this game is 42. Is there a chance that Baker is just a lot healthier now because he had a bye week? Is that plausible in any form? At least healthy enough that he could be like decent again?
No, some of that stuff doesn't get better short of surgery, right?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know exactly what's wrong with him. It seems like he has, it's like when you go to the gym, Tim, and you're doing your lift, you're doing your different muscle groups, you're doing your arms, you're doing your chest, and you're doing your back, you're doing legs day. And then some people, like me, I like to go full body workouts when I go. I like to do, just a lot of different motions, some plyometrics, some cardio, a few weights. That feels like Baker Mayfield right now, is that he has the full body workout of injuries. I don't know where he's not hurt. It just seems like he's limping with the left leg one week, and then he's got a dangling right shoulder the next week. His wrist is all fucked up. Poor guy, man. He's going to be so good for the Saints, like for the next 10 years when Cleveland decides not to bring him back next year.
Yeah, he's not that good. And if you're taking the Browns here, it means you believe the Browns are going to win this game. I don't.
Really? You think so? As 2.5 point favorites?
But I mean, like when you boil it down,
if you take Cleveland, you think as 2.5 point favorites that they would have to win the game. That is hard hitting analysis.
No, but actually you do actually have to boil it down to first principles here, which is that you have to believe the Browns are going to win to bet them, and they're not going to win. Like it's something that you can almost overlook by looking when you're trying to cap this game. Like you actually have to think Cleveland's going to win this game against the Ravens. I just don't see it. I don't see it at all. We're teasing the Ravens up. They're the fourth part of the teaser. Very short list for SuperLocks. Browns team is not very good. It threw its best punch at Baltimore 2 weeks ago and failed. And again, to bet Cleveland is to say, I think Cleveland's going to beat the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know how you can justifiably pick that right now. I'm sure you both will all take Cleveland, and that's fine. Go ahead. But I just think that's silly. I think it's a bad bet. I think you either have to take the Ravens or you don't take the game. I don't know how you can step in front of Cleveland right now.
This might be a super lock. This might be my super lock, and I felt that way before Tim opened his mouth. Tim complains often about unfair scheduling things in the schedule. This is literally the craziest, most insane, most unfair scheduling anomaly I have seen in my entire life.
It was supposed to happen to the Jets last year, and COVID prevented us from playing the Dolphins 2 games in 3 weeks with a bye in between. We were the first team that's supposed to run through this wall last season, but then rescheduling took that away from us.
Like, what do you like? Cleveland and Baltimore play. Cleveland gets a bye. Baltimore's out there playing Pittsburgh. Cleveland and Baltimore then play again the week after. Like, what have they been doing? It's the same game. And Baltimore didn't put anything new on tape. If anything, they just became more like they're dying. They're losing bodies everywhere.
That's the thing.
I don't know. Give me Cleveland. Again, this is gonna be another. I mean, people are down on kind of Baltimore right now that so many metrics make no sense for their record. And like they're the worst team with this stat to have this many wins because it doesn't make sense. Whatever. This is gonna be one of those games. Everyone like Cleveland is shit. Cleveland, like sort of like the feeling people had about the Chargers after last week, and the feeling people probably have about the Bills this morning, myself included. Man, the Browns are going to throw a goddamn haymaker Sunday.
I'm with you.
Brownies.
I'm taking because I think that the Cleveland Browns are going to win this game, Geoff. So that makes me feel good about covering 2.5 points. That's step one, winning the game. Now they just need to win by 3 or more because that's how spreads work.
Foolishness. They're not going to win. They don't have it in them.
No,
don't have the horses.
It feels like Baltimore doesn't have the horses at this point. Who do they have left on defense? No one.
As long as they have Lamar, that's good enough against the Browns. It's good enough.
You really have this anti-Browns bias, don't you?
No, I don't like them. I don't like this team. No, they're 6-6. They're not that good. I have to watch them the next two Saturday nights. We see them the next 2 Saturday nights in a row, which is awful. Like, I just get them off my TV. I can't stand them.
Tim, how much joy will you be taking in a scenario that doesn't seem as like it seemed unfathomable at the beginning of the year, but both Cleveland and Buffalo could realistically miss the postseason in the year where they were supposed to be the teams that competed with Kansas City. And
yes, fantastic.
Both of those teams, both of Buffalo and Cleveland, spent their entire off seasons trying to do things to not almost even compete with the teams around them in their division, but to make themselves more competitive versus one singular team in the Western Division.
It brings me great joy. Like I said, as a Jets fan, we're crabs in the bucket, trying to pull those crabs, trying to get out of that bucket back down. And Buffalo and Cleveland belong in there with us. Who do they think they are? Back you go to where you belong.
Cleveland, Geoff, right now is 60-1 to win the Super Bowl.
Which Super Bowl? Next year? 60-1 is a little short for this year. Imagine the Browns win the Super Bowl.
I mean, I will say I'm hyper intrigued for the potential offseason QB recruiting battle that goes on with Cleveland versus Pittsburgh.
Well, Pittsburgh's going to win that one.
Probably. Yeah, I could see that. But again, if Cleveland offers the most to trade, then in some ways, I just see.
If Baker can get himself right and just be healthy and be competent, I mean, you're looking at a situation where, what did the Browns go? They were one of the final 8 teams last year. Did they go to the AFC Championship game last year? What was it?
They lost to the Chiefs in the.
No, they should have. They could have beaten the Chiefs. It was Bills Chiefs though in the end.
I mean,
they couldn't beat the backup QB.
Defensively, this team is better this time around. I think that the offensive line is still vastly improved. They can still run the ball. They just need to get something out of the quarterback.
They might have the hardest.
They're not dead. Yeah, but listen, if you're gonna at 60-1 to win the Super Bowl, you're gonna have to win the hard games. Like either you are or you're not going to do it.
But I'm saying it's not like there's a hard game. I'm looking at the schedule. It seems like, I'm sure if you added up win-loss records of teams in the hunt, it looks like their schedule would scale out as one of the harder ones remaining.
I mean, they should beat, let's say they beat the Ravens this week. They get back above 500. They should beat the Raiders next week. They'll at least be favored against Raiders. Whether they win any of these games, I have no idea. And then they'll have the Bengals at home. And I mean, they slaughtered the Bengals last time around. So, the Packers, and they should beat the Steelers. They're better than the Steelers. Whether they win or not, who knows? And then they should lose to the Packers in Green Bay. Like, they could go 4-1 here to end the season. Then they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I'm just making the point. There's not a single like under 500 team.
Yeah, they have no Texans. They have no Jacksonville on. They have.
I'll just say the
everywhere.
Chargers, who they need to take a wild card spot from, play the Texans and the Giants before this is over.
Well, they also play the Ravens, Bengals, and Steelers. If they can just beat those teams, they should be good because then that knocks out those guys from not only the division but also the wild card.
Your team's in, Jeff. You don't need to worry.
Thanks, Tim. Shut up.
It is.
That brings us to the midpoint of the show, which means it's time for a Cust Corner mini.
Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner.
Well, it's time for me to take a victory lap. Maybe a month or so ago, a report came out about how wired.
Stop. No, let's stop right now. Jeff, here's how I want to preface this Cust Corner because you saw the tweet that he sent us. Did you know that Tim agrees with everything Kamala Harris says?
That is not true.
That's what. So why is it that you're agreeing blindly? I don't want to even talk about this. This is ridiculous because we've already explained it to you. You know that you're wrong, yet you're going to pretend like this is now a bit, and that's not what I want for this Cust Corner.
No, I wanted to talk about an article a month ago about how they're chic and cool, and how the kids these days want nothing to do with earpods. They're all about wired earphones. That's what the article said. And then
where was this article from?
You know that I sent it to you guys. I don't know where it was from.
So can you give us a real source of where this was from? Was it?
I sent it to you all. You read it, and we were talking about it in our text threads like a month or so ago. You remember where you said, "Oh, just because you said, oh, just because some Zoomer doesn't."
Yes, some random blogger put this out there, and you're like, "Oh, so everyone agrees with me." This is like going on Dolphins Reddit and saying that everyone thinks that they're going to the Super Bowl.
And then a month later, the vice president only wears these wired headphones because she's concerned about her Bluetooth being hacked. I just want to take a victory lap. I was mocked for these things. But I was right about wired headphones, and I was right about hackability.
Why were you right about wired headphones? Because you're too stupid to figure out how to use Bluetooth?
I don't know if we're actually recording. I do want to say that in searching for it does seem like there is a plethora of articles from all sorts of reliable sources, like respected outlets, about how cool kids are wearing wired headphones. I don't know if that's what Tim is referring to, what he sent us.
That's one of them that said that. One of them did say that like a month or two ago. An article said that like people are out on, as I always said, AirPods were a fad. They'd last for a while, but their day has come and their day is gone. They're not popular or cool or hip. And now we get an article that the vice president herself only wears wired headphones for security reasons. So not only are wired earphones better, like cooler and hipper and neater, they're also safer for you. So I think
why are they safer for you?
Because there's a risk of hacking.
Is there a risk of hacking?
You think the vice president of the United States knows less about these things than you do?
Well, here's my question for you. You have disagreed with every single thing that she has said for 2.5 years.
That's not necessarily
Jeff, what do we see in our Twitter DMs? Look at stupid Kamala Harris. She's such an idiot. She says one thing and now she's absolutely right.
Coming out tomorrow and saying he's right about something because the Cuomos agree with him.
Well, now that's a whole other level.
No, it's not. It's essentially the same thing.
Now, because like Kamala has some hawkish views on foreign policy that I'm very sympathetic towards as well. So it's not a complete disagreement with her. I just don't think she's a very good politician.
You have never highlighted one thing that she's ever said that you agree with. You've gone out of your way to send us stuff that we don't even fucking care about how she's wrong about this. Like, Tim, we don't care. And now one thing happens and all of a sudden you're Team Harris?
I'm on anyone's side, I guess, who will help to prove my point and get me the credit that I deserve.
But you don't get credit because, then let's rewind this here for a second. As I've already pointed out to you, you were concerned that someone hacked your Bluetooth because your phone was fucking telling you where you were going. Which has nothing to do with your Bluetooth. It has everything to do with the location services on your phone. Jeff, I offered to turn off his location services on his phone. What did he say? Well, no, how am I supposed to know where I'm going? So what the fuck do you want?
Yeah, it's really weird that he thinks he's being hacked from the proprietary information, such as where he is going, but technically only he knows, and he hasn't like told anybody.
There
No,
it is.
see, that's not what's going on here.
See, if people are listening to the audio version of the show, we're talking about main character syndrome here. When someone thinks they are the main character of life, usually comes with a side of individuality complex or a quirky style and self-centered point of views. Quote, I asked Cust where the beer was, and Cust said, just over the horizon, like in my dreams. Yeah, that girl has a major case of main character syndrome, the girl in this scenario being Cust.
I don't have main character syndrome. You just don't want to give me my credit.
For what?
Which is that I was right
you were wrong. You were wrong about what you said. We told you were wrong. You've now brought it back up, and we've explained it to you again how you're wrong.
So I'm willing to concede that I was wrong about how Bluetooth would be hacked.
Then what the fuck are you?
I was right.
Then what are you victory lapping?
But I was right for wrong reasons. But I was still right. It can be hacked.
Can it?
It's differently than I thought.
Can
Hold
it
on.
be
Are
hacked?
you victory lapping that Teen Vogue wrote an article? Wired headphones are the
Yes.
new accessory.
Yes,
Like, is
Teen
that what
Vogue.
you're
That's where it
victory
came
lapping?
from. Yes,
So-
that's where it came from.
So you want to be on the side of hipsters here? I thought you were very anti-hipster.
I'm not anti. I am anti-hipster. This is not about hipster. It's about what is cool, what is in the public. As as a man of the people, I
You
like to
read
sit
Teen
down to the
Vogue?
commoners.
Tim's
and-
beaten to Teen Vogue over here, you fucking creep.
No, I just saw it on Twitter that someone was talking about how cool wired earphones were, and that got my attention because I am on the team of wired headphones are superior in every single way,
Except for
to
convenience.
earphones. Except for they're a lot safer and they're a lot.
Why are
cooler.
they
So-
safer?
because they obviously have.
Well,
security
wouldn't
concerns.
technically wired headphones be less safe because you could strangle yourself with them?
Obviously, the vice president isn't wearing
Why?
earphones
Everything else she does is wrong, but this is correct.
not everything.
We also just
Most-
saw Trump do 4 years of insanity, and he was the president. Does that make him even more right about everything he did?
No, not at all. But I'm just trying to make the point that when we look at this thing where I was pilloried for saying that wireless earphones were really cool and that Bluetooth can be
No,
hacked.
no one said that
Don't
wireless.
recover.
Hold on, stop. You're now twisting what was said completely. No one said that wireless headphones were cool. Everyone just said that wireless headphones are better and more convenient, which they
And
are.
mocked.
No one
And
disagree.
mocked.
No one disagrees with that except for 14-year-old hipsters.
So the tastemakers in the world have
Teen,
decided
teen
that
Vogue.
wired
So you're believing Teen Vogue on this?
and, well, Jeff just made the point that when you look online, there are several publications.
The
Makes
exact
sense.
article you sent us was from Mashable, and it said why Gen Z is plugging in wired headphones and tuning out AirPods. But
Boom.
you hate, it's so weird. It's so weird. You hate Kamala Harris, you hate
Teens.
Gen Zers, but you're now using them to credit lap.
So I don't hate Kamala Harris. She and I just disagree on a lot of political issues, and again, the people are showing a definite turn back towards wired earphones, which is what I always.
But what people?
always
Who
said
have you? Who
earbuds
have you?
are bad.
Who have you seen switch back to wired headphones in your real life?
I have no idea.
This
I
is
read
no different than when you click a BuzzFeed list and you're like, millennials are out of control. They're doing all these things, although you've never seen anyone do them.
I assume those people have their ear to the ground on what.
Why?
millennials
Why
are up
do you
to.
assume that? They have to fill out fucking a list for internet clickbait. So idiots
Well,
like
they
you
got
click
my
on it and
click.
be like, oh my God. Of
They got my click.
course they did.
I'm
You're
I'm
you're very gullible.
I'm very interested in these things. I just think it's time for you all to doff your cap and give me a little bit of credit
For
about
what?
being right
For what?
about
You haven't
wired
been right. You haven't been right about anything, and now you want credit. This is how far you have fallen. You want credit for things you're not even right about. Think about how
I am
sad
right.
you're not right. Jeff, is he right or wrong?
No, I don't think you're right. He also, like a month ago, victory lapped how bad the Chiefs were, and now they're really good again.
I don't know that I victory
Yeah,
lapped.
you wanted a credit for saying
You said
like,
I
this-
deserved credit, and I accepted the credit you gave me. I didn't come looking for it. That's not quite the way that vector pointed, and you know that.
But as soon as it was talked into existence, what happened, Jeff? The Chiefs started becoming good again.
Yeah, until they play the Patriots at some point in the playoffs and lose, because that's just what's going to happen. But anyway, that was the only point I wanted to make on this mini, is that I said that
Is that you were
AirPods
wrong, but you want to be considered right because you're not
that
right about
AirPods were
everything.
just a fad, and it's clear that the new generation want nothing to do with them, and so they're going to you'll look like some old time boomer on your elliptical with your AirPods. And
Why would I be on an elliptical? I'm not fucking you.
Okay, well, any machine you want. The youth of the day will be at the gym and say, "Look at that old guy over there with his AirPods in." Essentially, you're the same as somebody who wears a Walkman.
But I also don't wear AirPods. What are you talking about?
Well, just wireless earphones.
Yeah, that's not the same thing, by the way.
Those things are gone. They're done for. They're a thing of the past.
So wireless headphones are done for.
This is what the articles Geoff is looking at. It says exactly.
No, I didn't say that.
The Gen Z are eschewing wired earphones, or sorry, the wireless ones for wired ones. They're plugging in.
Jeff,
that's the way.
Since you're going as you're the point of confirmation on this, do you think it has anything to do with wireless headphones being around 5 times as expensive as wired headphones?
I don't know. It just seems like it's this hipster look to have the wires.
Yeah.
Like these are people, like I've seen the people in these articles. They've never dressed like Tim in 100 years. I don't understand. Like it's a style thing, not a practicality thing. So Tim is agreeing with them, but they're not agreeing
with Tim
on the same things.
Yeah. They're doing it to stand out and be
sense.
different because it's so ridiculous. And Tim's like, no, that's not ridiculous. That's how it is.
Or you're just now burning with jealousy, knowing that the technology you've chosen is now all.
What are you talking about? I use my headphones probably more than anyone that you know. And just having the ability just to be click one in one ear, one in the other ear, don't have to fucking carry shit around with me. It is the greatest. It is so convenient. And what will people default to more than anything else? It's going to be convenience. So I don't think that if you want to go invest in something right now, maybe we should do this, Geoff, is go invest hard into wireless headphones. Now that Tim has victory lapped their death.
And write about their security issues, clearly.
What security issues would come down to?
That's why the vice president won't wear AirPods. She's afraid of the Bluetooth being hacked.
But the president will do it. And everyone else with national security secrets has no problem with Bluetooth. But she does. Therefore, you're right about something that you weren't even
skeptical of. I'm also a Bluetooth skeptic too. I've always been a Bluetooth skeptic.
But you didn't understand how Bluetooth worked.
No one understands how it actually works, except for like the scientists who created it. If I were to ask you to draw a sketch about the nature of how Bluetooth works, your paper would be blank. You don't know how it works. I don't know how it works.
Why is Bluetooth, let me ask you this, any different than using wireless internet?
I have no idea.
Will you use wireless internet, though? Or will you have to be hardwired into a secure system at all times?
I think that wireless internet is obviously rife for hacking purposes, which is why places use VPNs and such that carry classified materials.
Are you sure you know what a VPN is?
I think I do.
All right, what is it?
And that's a VPN. That thing you log into to like act as a firewall between you and the outside world.
If there was a firewall between you and the outside world, how would you get through the firewall?
Well, because you know the access code.
So you have the key to the door through the firewall?
Yeah, exactly.
You have no idea how this works, do you?
I mean, I think I'm pretty much right.
Not, but okay. You like to make stuff up, don't you?
No, it's not making it up. I have this general sense of what a VPN is, and that you log into it and you log out of it. And it's sort of like a buffer.
I mean, saying it that simplistically, sort of, is closer than you were before.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at.
But you still have no idea what it does.
I mean, I have a sense that it's like offers protection from outside.
Yeah, but you don't know how that works.
No, I don't, because I'm not a computer scientist.
You don't need to be a fucking computer scientist. You just need to be not a moron, and you can figure it out.
Okay, well, I guess I'm a moron. I'm a grade A moron then.
You're what, sorry?
I guess I'm a grade A moron then.
That is a great clip that we can use. Thank you. Let's get into the late set of games. Detroit at Denver. Denver is an 8-point. You really don't think you should have said that? Really?
Can we delete that so you don't have that?
If you can explain to me how I would delete that from this record in real time, I will delete it for you. Go.
I have no idea.
Why? You make stuff up for everything else you don't understand. Why don't you go do it for this one? Maybe you can guess right.
GarageBand it. I don't know. Go into GarageBand and edit the time code thingy. I guess I'm a grade A moron then.
Go ahead.
You
Jeff.
have to realize you using Kamala Harris and Gen Zers to take a victory lap would be like you using a stat that like Tua leads the league in to pump up Zach Wilson.
Look, that shows you how much I think I deserve credit.
How desperate you are.
No,
You-
it shows how desperate you are for credit.
Well,
There
can I
you
at least
go.
get it then?
No,
Have I shown?
it's like there's a drought. How fucking thirsty you are right now. It's
Yeah,
incredible.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then I will put in that clip. Yes, sir. Yes, Paul, you would like to say something. Can we talk about one tweet that he got? Yeah, we can. Do you have it ready to pull up right now? Paul doing some on-the-fly producing here. Why was the coach wasting your talent with you on the O-line, on the line, instead of moving the chains with you at tailback? So according to Tim in his football career, as he was tweeting out when he was fucking 9 years old or something, I was too good at calling out the protections as a centre to play tailback. Really? Or was it that you weren't allowed to play tailback because you were a heavy and had to wear one of those stripes on your helmet?
No, I didn't have to wear one of those stripes. That's why I got to play defensive end, not defensive tackle, because I wasn't one of the heavies. I didn't have to have the red stripe on my helmet. But no, I was really good at being a center because I was good at reading the protections. So, like, I could pick out the mic and stuff like that. So that's one of the reasons
You could pick up the mic. You could tell who was playing fucking middle linebacker, could you?
It's a little harder. in Canadian football.
Congratulations.
It's a little harder in Canadian football. Anyway, I played both sides. I was a throwback guy. I played both sides of the line, center and defensive end.
How old were
And,
you when you played football?
14.
And
It
how
would have
long,
been the year
how long did you
2000
play for?
Just the 2001 year. So I would have been, I think, 14 that year.
You were so good you had to retire at 14?
That was the apex of my physical prowess in terms of athleticism. That was it. Like, I never got higher than that apogee.
But you can currently rush for 3.5 yards per carry in the NFL.
If you give me an NFL offensive line and an NFL fullback, I'm getting you that first down.
If you went back and played for this team right now that you played for, do you think you could average 3 yards per carry? Because I don't think that you could. Jeff?
Yes, I do.
What do you think, Jeff? His Pee Wee football
Do I think
team.
Tim
Could he
do
average
what?
3 yards per carry on his? If he just went and played Pee Wee football right now, and you handed the ball off to Tim, could he average 3 yards per carry? I say no.
You like Kramer in that
I do.
contest.
He's a grown man. Like he went out there versus 13-year-olds.
I mean, there's some big 13. He said it was 14. There's some big 14-year-olds
14,
out
yeah. Anything under 15 years old, Tim would get 3 yards a carry.
Okay, how about
sure.
this? Maybe on his team in Canadian Pee Wee football. What about 13 and 14-year-olds in Texas with Tim in the backfield? He would die. Like he would be in the hospital. They would hit him so hard.
I would just juke, and then that would be it.
Really? Do we have to play your 40? Do we have to cut to your 40 time again? Over
You mean the
7?
third time in a row?
You're over 7-second 40 time?
Well, again, the first 2 times it was under 7 seconds. I had to run it 3 consecutive times.
Jeff,
so.
do you know why he had to run it 3 times?
The first time I went early.
Jeff?
The second time
You went early again. You went early again.
No.
Do you know why
don't
it didn't
lie.
record or didn't record properly? Because you left a fucking full second before the go.
No, the people for
So
DK
now
Missed-
we're twisting
missed
our
the second.
stories to make you not
No.
look so incompetent. I was there. I saw the entire thing. We couldn't. Why do you think we would ask you to run it so many times?
because the second time the recording didn't work correctly.
Oh yeah,
We
but
couldn't-
we have every other bit of footage, but the recording didn't work correctly. Okay, Tim.
like
thanks.
they didn't start it on time. Yes,
Okay,
that is what
yeah,
happened.
Yeah, that's not what happened, but okay.
It is what happened.
Continue.
I wouldn't make it up. I don't know why I would make it up.
Why you make up everything all that you just tried to explain things to people which you have no idea what they are and say them with confidence like you know what's going on. You have no fucking idea, especially about this because I was actually there to verify it.
And I was there too. And but
you're a known liar. I'm not.
Oh, please. The first time I went early, the second time the camera operator didn't get the record going correctly, so I had to do it a third time.
No, you
And
left early both times.
Just the first time. Just the first
Both
time. I
times.
don't know why.
And you ran in over 7-second 40. You should be able to run it 100 times and at least brace fucking 6.
It was the third time I was full of donuts and I was wearing blue jeans.
And what was I wearing?
I think you were wearing like those black track pants.
Yeah,
thingies that
I went to NFL Media Day wearing black track pants, Tim.
I don't.
So let's see whose memories really work out a lot better here. Mine, who remembers what happened, or you, who's making stuff up.
You're right. I don't remember what pants you were wearing in February 2018 for this event. You're right. You got me. I don't remember.
But when was the last time, outside of a Sunday while I'm lounging watching football, have you ever seen me wear track pants?
It's been a while.
How long? Have you ever seen it?
I'm sure I have, but I don't know.
The answer is no. I own one pair of track pants that I bought like 6 months ago so I can lounge on Sundays.
I like track pants.
I'm sure you do. You also like tucking sweater vests into basketball shorts.
That looked nice. I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody says.
You should do it with some wired headphones.
Well, I would if I want to look cool, because that's what the cool people are doing these days.
Yeah, that's
sorry, boomer.
You can look
with
like
your AirPods, boomer.
Well, I don't wear AirPods.
Or wireless earphones, boomer.
Sure. Listen, I'm fine with that. I will continue to wear my wireless headphones.
Did you record the music you're listening to off an 8-track too?
That would be awesome. See, that sounds like something that Gen Z will start to do. It's like how records became really big for Gen Z. Maybe 8-tracks will be next.
Maybe.
Do you listen to everything on record?
I listen to a few things on vinyl because I've got a vinyl player here, but not much.
Who is more hipster than you?
No, but I'm not doing it to be hipster.
But why are you doing it?
Because it sounds nice.
No,
I don't have like.
Oh yeah, I bet you your fucking 45-year-old record player sounds a lot better.
No, I felt really out of place this week. I felt really out of place this week when everybody was like putting out their lists of, oh, here's what I was listening to on the Spotify this year, and here's my downloads. And I was like, I don't have any of these things. I don't have any of these songs or downloads. I don't use the Spotify. I felt like very out of place.
My numbers were all Jojo Siwa.
The hell does that mean?
I don't know what that means.
You were listening.
It means I'm a girl dad.
Oh yeah, like I had the Wiggles as my number one.
Yeah, I got a lot of Jojo Siwa coming in hot. 1, 2, 3, and 4.
That's really strange.
She's like a big deal, but yeah, actually, Tim, you don't know who Jojo Siwa is?
No, I don't.
You're a maven of pop culture?
Not that popular of a culture, I guess.
Yeah, buddy, just shows what you don't. You're no maven of pop culture.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, fine. I don't know who this Joe Siwa is. You're right.
She's like a huge deal that people listen. I'm not saying you need to know who she is at all. I'm saying somebody who considers themselves a maven of pop culture needs to know who she is. And by not knowing who she is, it's really a bad scene for someone who considers themselves said maven.
Will she be on the Grammys in a few weeks? Because like if she performs at the Grammys, I'll see her. Don't
they have like real old people perform at the Grammys? Because like old people would watch the Grammys.
I watch the Grammys usually because it's like contemporary, so I keep up with what the music scene is today. That's where they give out album of the year, song of the year. They're not giving.
You don't even listen to music, and I know how off base you are.
No, the Grammys are very instructive as to teaching you what sort of is in. We live in a world.
No, because I actually saw this article of people voting or complaining that the songs that should be album of the year, song of the year, the artist didn't even put up to be nominated.
That could be. I can't speak to that. All I know is that if something's getting voted song of the year, it's probably really popular.
Might be, but it seems aren't the Grammys like routinely mocked about how off base they are?
I have no idea. I like them. I find them to be a useful sort of. We live in a world where everything's so cloistered and separated, and no one is sort of listening to this. We don't have music videos to watch on TV anymore, and nobody's listening to the radio anymore. So we don't have the same songs that we're listening to as a group. So the Grammys sort of brings us together as an opportunity to collectively realize what it is that we're actually listening to and what is it that we're rewarding.
Paul, can you do me a favor? Can you re-upload the Jake show from earlier? For whatever reason, it's published. It's been published for 4 hours, but it just won't pop up on Apple or Spotify. Yeah, the audio podcast. The video version is fine. That's out, but the audio podcast should have dropped 5 hours ago, and it's just not popping up. I mean, I just checked iTunes. People are telling me it's not up, and I can't find it either. But it's telling me on the page that it's published. So I'm going to need to re-upload it, I think. I'm going to revert this one to a draft because it's not even going anyway. So yeah, let me know when that's uploaded. I can do it from here as I'm going to continue to talk. Let's get to the late games as we tried to do a little bit earlier before Tim kept being insane. Custy Awards are almost ready, by the way, Geoff. The categories.
Can't be
there are so many this year that Rob is having a tough time organizing it all. So if people want to have any memories, maybe some more, anything you can remember that was Andercursed for this year, tag Rob McIntyre on Twitter, as he is the compiler of the Custies. And he is at RobMCI16 on Twitter. That's who you tweet at. He takes care of the Custies. So if there's like stuff,
he's like the Ernst and Young of the Custies.
Do you think he knows about the horsey that passed away?
I mean, he may. Yeah, Tim killed a horse again this weekend, Geoff. If you didn't hear.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't. I mean, why? Because he bet on him 3 years ago or something.
No,
I
picked him this year to win the Kentucky Derby, and now he's dead.
Not the Kentucky Derby. I picked him to win the Preakness this year,
dead,
and then he died this year.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Subway founder is way more like that. Has my vote if we're doing Tim deaths from the year.
Most Cust murdered.
Anyway, I don't think there's that many things. When we get to the vote, I think you're gonna have trouble finding things this year. This was not a very quote unquote cursed year in my opinion.
But again, that's in your opinion. You tend to have the worst opinions, as we found out.
He's also just made the last 3 weeks of the year very dangerous.
That's true. Watch yourself if Tim talks about you. Detroit at Denver. Denver is favored by 8 points. 42 is the over-under. What do you make of these Broncos, Geoff? Are they a good game, bad game, good game, bad game team?
I will say you have to respect their defense, right? I mean, I think two very good defensive outings versus Herbert and Mahomes. So that seems to be something that is still there. An incredible 11-minute drive that ended in no points. I don't know, though. I really want to believe that the Chargers win was sort of the high point for them outside of that 3-0 start versus really shitty teams. So I don't know. I'm not that impressed, but I need to remind myself to respect that defense.
Is their defense good enough to help them cover the 8 against Detroit, who just won the Super Bowl, according to them?
Yeah, okay. I'm tempted to be on Detroit here. I've even seen people I respect say Detroit is going to win the football game.
Are they all Chargers beat reporters?
No, not at all. I haven't seen Charger beat reporters. I don't even think would predict this game. No, not at all. And I saw an interesting stat on Walter Football this week, Pat, because you would think you just mentioned the Lions won their Super Bowl and like how that probably affects, the next game. Here it is. It seems reasonable to believe that a team, the Lions situation will be flat until he looked it up. Teams that start 0-10 or worse are 5-5 against the spread following that initial victory. So there's no thing to point to it being like a total letdown game because they just won a game. And with how we've seen the Lions compete all year, I'm going to say they're going to have a great week of practice. I'm taking the points.
The coin is with you in taking the points. I'm going to take Denver here. The way that Denver can play D, obviously with their front seven, even somehow without Von Miller, they've been better, which is really weird. It's like the Chase Young in Washington situation in whether or not Melvin Gordon returns or not. Javonte Williams looked good enough on the ground against the Chiefs, who have a much better run defense at this point of the season than the Lions do. I just don't know how Detroit is going to manufacture enough points. Like, Minnesota's defense is really missing Everson Griffin in that pass rush, and the pass rush for the Broncos is going to get to the goof, and I don't think they're going to be able to effectively run the ball enough to stay within it. And I think that Denver honestly does play well, like once every 2 weeks, and they played poorly last week. They come out on offense this time around and actually put up some points. So I'll take Denver -8, Tim.
I am with the people that Geoff has been reading. I think the Lions have a legitimate shot to maybe even win, although I'm not if I'm going to pick that. But I am going to take them and cover the number. I like the Lions in this spot here. I think that they should rebound from that win. That should have some that give them some forward momentum. That it can be centripetal for them. And I like them quite a bit here to cover the number.
Any reason why besides they have good
Would
momentum?
you tease them?
No, I'm not going to tease them because they're 1-10-1. I'm just not going to tease them. But like we saw such ineptitude from the Broncos offense last week. And I don't know, just at home, I think it's a lot of points for this Denver team to be laying. And I mean, the Lions have played relatively well most weeks, beyond the odd occasion where they get blown out. They're like in just about every game. So I don't see a reason to pick against them right now. I think they are good enough to hang sort of with anybody. Like, even though they're 1-10-1, like they're not the disaster that the Texans are, or even the Jets are in some ways. Like the Lions have a little more going for them. So I'm going to pick them.
All right.
Denver's very much like controls its own destiny to make the postseason. So, you know, I don't, you're going to get their effort too. So I might be regretting my pick here.
All right. San Francisco and Cincinnati. The Bengals are favored by 1 at home against the Niners. 48 is the over-under. Remember this game from, was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, Geoff? That this was, I think it was the week 2 game. And I think it was the same spread, Cincinnati by 1. That was the year the Niners went to the Super Bowl and the Bengals ended up at the first pick in the draft. That these teams were so close that it just turned out that the Niners were vastly superior. I don't think that the Niners are vastly superior this time around, although I'm still sticking with them that I think that they're a very good team. They could have Debo back this week. We'll see about that. Don't know yet about Elijah Mitchell, but they seem like a plug-and-play running back offense that if it's JaMychal Hasty and not Elijah Mitchell, they'll be fine as long as they kind of have their key pieces on the offensive line and the defensive line, which they do. I like the Niners on the road here +1. I think they win the game outright.
Yeah, I'm taking the 49ers. I'm still on the wagon for them. This is a hard game for me to pick, so I'm just going to side with the team I have a future on.
Coins going Cincinnati. Tim, how about you?
San Francisco. Yeah, they're 6-6. They're their own worst enemy. They continue to throw games away that they should be winning, which is why they're 6-6 and not like 8-4, 9-3, which is what their talent dictates that they ought to be. But nevertheless, I mean, the Bengals defense is still a real problem, and I think San Francisco set up very well to run against them and make some big plays. And as long as that secondary for the 49ers can hold up against deep passes, particularly given the fact that you can say that it doesn't matter that Burrow's hurt, but like Geoff watched that game, Burrow's finger did affect him and did bother him constantly throughout the second half of that ball game. It's going to matter to some degree. I'll take the 49ers, who are the better team.
All right, so
I thought Burrow played well. He's a tough as nails guy.
Oh yes, but it
Hung
clearly
in there, made some really big plays. If you believe, like, if you're not afraid of San Fran in the cold, I do like San Fran here. I did make the comment I have the future, and that's what I was basing this on. But it's actually supposed to be really cold and a snowy day, and San Fran is sort of set up perfectly for that sort of condition to do exactly to play how their skill set could be optimal. Would probably be a game in Northeast conditions if you have, if you can hope that the cold temperature doesn't get them. It's also a 4:00 game, so it'll be dark, but it won't be 10 a.m. either.
I think they kind of. Why is this a late afternoon game and not an early afternoon game?
It was flexed here because it's such a good game.
I think they just moved some things around. Like, for example, Buffalo Tampa is also at 4:00, Pat, and that is I guess they didn't want a Denver Lions and Giants Chargers were the only actual West Coast teams hosting games this week, and the Cardinals and Rams are playing on Monday night, and I guess they needed to actually put some nice games at 4:00.
That makes sense. Let's get to your team. Giants at the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are favored by 10.5 right now at DraftKings Sportsbook. 44 is the over-under. It looks like we're getting Tim's boy starting for the Giants at quarterback, Geoff. Jake Fromm. Remember when he was going to start over Josh Allen week 1 last year?
Can this be like the last time Tim's boy played versus the Chargers, a la Nathan Peterman?
This is the Manning Bowl, though. This is the Eli Manning Bowl. This is a big game for the Chargers.
Eli never beat the Chargers. He has the Super Bowl ring. And if you want to fire me up, we can talk about it. But the reals that know me know that if there's a team like the Dolphins is kind of some fun in games. There's a team that I wish nothing but QB hell on. It is the New York Giants.
I want to hear about the presser, Geoff. How did you get a hold of the transcript?
Okay, so I don't know if you guys saw, but yesterday the Chargers put out a transcript of the Monday presser. That was so informative. Like, for them to originally tell me it's very informal, not a lot goes on, and then to read how deep and insightful those responses were, let alone the simple short answers to the status of Joey and Linval and a couple of the other guys that get banged up. So it was just a joy. And before I get into how I got it, I want you to know Tim will probably consider me like lazy, but I felt like I shouldn't have to read this. I appreciate that they give it to me, but I shouldn't have to read this. So what did I do, guys? I put it into one of those apps that you can just copy and paste the text into, and it will read it for me. And I wish I could dub Coach's voice to do the answers. But it's like, you know what? I shouldn't have to read it. But
that's amazing. Amazing.
Okay, as for how I got it, I believe, call it main character syndrome. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before, if it's ever been defined for you, but I believe this could be a case of main character syndrome, but I believe that I'm responsible for this because it just showed up. What did I do? Now, to someone who's like amazing at the internet, what I'm about to say might just be like basic level introductory, like how to do something like this. But I think people like Tim will be really impressed with how I did this. So I noticed I searched on Twitter under people, not tweets, people, Chargers. So what did that do for me? That got me people who have the Chargers in their bio.
Well, that's smart.
Now there's a bit of riffraff through that. Like fans or people that like host Charger shows.
Feinbolt.
Like that. Watch Feinbolt. Can't wait to talk about Feinbolt this week. There's so much minutia for us to talk about. But I would find, and some of these people I already followed, but I didn't know their names or how to find them. Just people that worked for the Chargers, because that's a sense of pride. And I found a bunch of people that work on like the video and content side. And I pretty much just wrote a DM to a bunch of them have like open DMs. And I hit them all up with a DM that was sincere and genuine. And I think when they like, look, who's this weirdo sending me this? Oh, they open my profile. He's got, like 24,000 followers. Like he's insane, but he's like has something going with what he does. And yeah, I so that's what I did. So I'm sure they all like got to work or in their own Chargers digital team Slack chat. They're like, did you guys get this like weird DM? Yeah, I got it. I got it too. What should we do about it? I don't know. Is it that hard to give them a transcript? No, let's give them a transcript.
Nice work by you.
Okay, so that's not main character syndrome, but when I talk about things that are affecting me,
I acknowledged it.
Yeah, he said what's going on here, how it's very selfish.
But it's not main character syndrome if it's true. If it actually is, if Geoff's actually the cause of it, then it's not main character syndrome. That's an accurate depiction of what actually happened.
Why are you trying to transfer your own main characters? And so you're making this about yourself.
No, I'm not making this about
then what was the point of bringing it up? Because you want to talk about yourself some more?
Yeah, so I did that. I'm happy. I think at some point we'll get from transcript to video.
No, you shouldn't have to read it, Geoff. You really shouldn't.
No, I was like, you know what? Like, because I have a process.
You should write them back and say, guys, thanks so much for getting me the transcript, but like, I don't want to have to go through the effort of reading it. So maybe you could send me like the video of the Zoom chat that you guys have.
No, I'm not. Listen,
You can love.
listen.
Fienberg?
They've done what I've asked. If they want to end it here, I'm not gonna complain about it. But I said I'm gonna take this a step further. I'm not even gonna listen. I'm not even gonna read it. I'm not even gonna read it. And I'm sure I should probably practice my reading. So I should be reading it.
You practice my reading.
But Tim, I don't know. Sometimes like those really, really long Seth Wickersham like articles that I love what they're about, like the inner workings of the league, but they're really long. And then you get to the top and it says like this article will take like X amount of minutes to read. I'm like, man, no, I'm gonna put that in the machine when I go for a walk or have to run an errand or something. I'm gonna listen.
I've always enjoyed sort of leaning back and reading sort of in my own voice the articles themselves rather than listening to them. But I get if people are busy or would rather listen than read them, then that's fine. It's personal preference. I just have an affinity for reading the written word, I guess.
Well, I actually had this idea at a few of the websites that I've been at over the years that it's always been my pitch that there should be someone on staff who reads every single one of the articles as a podcast that you can download. So it just gives people more ways to actually consume the content that's on your site.
I like that.
No one ever listens to me on it. And I was like,
No, that's good.
and that
It might
way,
be a little annoying in the podcast feed to have that many podcasts.
no,
But,
like,
click on the link.
You wouldn't necessarily need to download it as a podcast. You would just download the audio file and you can just play it on your phone or your computer or whatever.
No, like on the page with the article, there's literally like a speaker button, and I hit that, and then someone's voice at the network I'm familiar with is literally reading me the article.
Correct.
Done.
Correct.
Simple.
It would
like
be
it.
cool if you can like get celebrities or like interesting people to do it.
Yeah,
Like,
like
why do we have to get there? Why can't we just have step one of it actually existing?
Fair enough, but like imagine if Fred Flintstone was reading your article, Bon. Like that would be really interesting.
Who the fuck was that?
That was Fred Flintstone.
What, on like 4 packs a day?
Nah, you don't know. It'd be really cool. I'm in the shower with the dinosaur. I could be listening to the article. You know what I mean?
Have you had an aneurysm?
No, I actually don't think that one's all that bad.
Again, this is why people don't believe you when you say anything, because you think that that's good.
I think that's pretty decent. I mean, it's not perfect, but I think that's actually a pretty good Fred Flintstone.
Like, what's decent?
I don't think he was ever that gruff.
On a scale and he definitely didn't slip into Tim's fake Christopher Walken impression for like 3 of the words either. But on a scale of 1 to 100, where would you rate that impression?
50.
It's like a 4, maybe a 1. It might not even be quantifiable. That's how bad it is.
I don't know about that. I think it's pretty good, Bon.
Now it sounds like Wilford Brimley.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're saying Bond and not Barn.
I think it's pretty good. I guess I'm a grade A moron then.
You got real fucking
I
problems.
could use improvement, but
Yeah, significant improvement. Maybe just stop doing impressions.
no, I like doing impressions. They make me feel good. Or is that more main character syndrome, according to you?
Again, you're the one who's now bringing this up all the time because you need to talk about yourself.
No, don't.
Then why have you brought it up now 3 times in the past 5 minutes?
I don't know. I don't know why. I can't explain it.
Because you suffer from... Listen, it's not... You can't help that you're doing it. It's a neurological problem. You need to go to the brain doctor and get it figured out.
Stop it. Go see the brain doctor.
Maybe they can give you a lobotomy.
I don't think they lobotomize people.
Listen, I have a phrenologist who I can definitely recommend you to. And
do you? Yeah.
They do lobotomies still, so you'll be good.
I bet a phrenologist does participate in that, yes.
Yeah. I'm taking the Chargers, I guess, Geoff. 10.5.
Man, it's a lot.
Listen, this is the cream puff. I've not complained, but I've tried to defend the team, saying there aren't really bad losses on the schedule. They haven't had that Maybe they didn't cover in the situation you might have wanted them to, but the schedule has been hard. There have been no bottom feeders. And here comes one. 10.5 points at home in a look ahead spot. This is something I'm really interested in experiencing my coach. Like, how are we going to handle this? Is this going to be a sweat job, or are we just going to be able to put this game away early, keep it away, and maybe even, have a stress-free second half, God forbid? I'm not sure. But if it's Jake Fromm, Pat, I'm in my playoffs in my home league. I'm tied for first. I have picked up the Chargers. The Chargers are going to play for me this week versus the Giants, and I am going to use them in week 1 of my postseason versus Houston.
That's smart. Smart move. Smart maneuvering that way. I still think that
They play the Chiefs next week, do they not?
Yeah.
Yes, that will be the last regular season week for me. Where
oh
my
god,
home
you
league
guys
is
are
a
playing
10-man.
into you guys are playing into week 18.
No, it's we have 2 more weeks of regular season. It's
You
only
must have
it's a
4 playoff teams.
it's a 10-man league, 4 playoff spots.
Gotcha.
My home league.
That's fine. Like our league used to be. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that's. So no, our playoffs won't go to 18, but so I guess I said it wrong. Week 16, the Chargers play Houston. That'll be my first playoff game. I'll use them. And I was thinking about Tim laughing at me when Bosa left the game, but I was so impressed. The Chargers were winning first down, friends.
We were all laughing. I mean, I hope he's okay, but like,
No, he had
all of us in the room were like, "Here he goes again. He doesn't play."
Oh, stop it.
Yeah.
But it was great to see the run defense, even the amount of sacks they got in that game without Bosa. Hopefully Staley's vision, as he mentioned via transcript, is starting to see what he had hoped to see. So I'm super excited, and I think everyone is going to be back. Bosa, Samuel, Linval. I'm not sure about Justin Jones. Kenneth Murray played 9 snaps again. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, I don't know. Good game. If Eckler didn't fumble, we probably don't have to have heart attacks, but we had a heart attack and we finished strong. I don't really know what to say. I'm excited. My playoff probability is high at the moment. We're flirting with 77%. I'm really excited, friends.
Oh yeah, you're fine. I like the Chargers to win this game. I don't trust them enough to cover for the teaser, but I do. So I'm not going to put them there on the free money. But I think when in doubt, I'll lay the points against what is probably going to be a first time QB.
Oh wait, so you're picking the Chargers against the spread at minus 10.5, but you don't think that they cover the teaser spread?
No. I think they can cover the teasers, but I just don't trust them enough to put them in there. The Chargers could do something stupid. So I would rather not have the risk of it in my free money teaser to deal with the Chargers.
So you're picking the Chargers against the spread, though.
I am, but very little confidence. You wouldn't take me very much for me to talk me into taking the Giants now that it's 10.5. Like,
hold on. How come you haven't put a sell on for Jake Fromm, your guy?
Obviously, he's not nearly as good as I thought coming out of college that he would be. I think this is going to be a disaster. They don't have a quarterback coach. They don't have an offensive coordinator. And now he's never played a game. He was signed off another team's practice squad the other day. If the Chargers don't win this by a lot, it will be embarrassing.
They didn't go home. They went to Arizona to spend the week in practice.
Not smart.
But why Miami to Arizona? They were in Miami. They have a charter flight. They can't fly home 2 hours, 12 minutes.
I guess Joe Judge wanted them to keep in that road mindset and sort of who knows, right? Who knows? I don't mind it. I don't mind keeping the guys longer on the road towards the end of the season when you're trying to finish strong or whatever. I don't know, but could they cover this game? Sure, I could. They might, but I'll take the Chargers.
Spot there, right? New coach, new quarterback, new GM, everything, right?
Yeah, it is a bad spot, but I don't know. Chargers do dumb stuff. If they won this game by 7, would I be surprised?
No, I was sort of making a comment about sort of the macro state. They're going to do a total clean house, quarterback coach, GM probably.
You would think so. They should. This is the New York Giants. This is the 2 or 3 biggest team in all of football. They need to do something.
I figured out why the podcast didn't go up. Apparently, that the site that I use to upload podcasts is having Amazon Web Service error, and they're hoping to get it figured out. So if you're looking for the Rankings debate show, or even this show, if it's not solved in time, blame them, not me, because I have them posted. You can just watch it on YouTube. How about that?
Hey,
So,
Pat, why doesn't this work?
well, I think it's a very valid question that people don't know, but now that I've even put it out on Twitter, I've said it right now. If people are ever wondering why, this is the reason. Buffalo and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is a 3-point favorite at home. 52 is the over-under in the game. I really want to take the Bills here, but the Bucs just look like they're going to keep rolling and rolling and rolling. I'm just going to blindly take the Bills, Geoff, coming off a really horrible performance on a short week. I think that if they can get back to throwing the ball downfield, they're going to be fine.
Every time I hate a team, like I wake up with the venom that I woke up today for Buffalo. That team normally plays great the next week. So give me the Bills here. It is interesting though, because I mentioned earlier those stat lines and of the 5 losses the Bills have for their opposing quarterbacks. I wonder what Brady's gonna do. And if they want to just physically dominate Buffalo, the line of scrimmage, they could they not?
I mean, their pass rush isn't great by any means. Like, it's good, but it's not elite. Like you would think.
You know what I mean? Bills can't run. Tampa can.
Well, that's the thing. Like, the best thing they can do is stop the run. They're not good at getting to the quarterback. They can stop the run, no problem. The Bills don't even try to run, so that's sort of taking away their big thing.
But we also often talk now when discussing this Buffalo Bills in their current construct that going to a dome, heading to Florida is probably more advantageous for them at this moment in time.
Agreed.
The line is suspiciously low, and it didn't move from yesterday, which I thought it might, and probably thought it should have.
Yeah, but what does Monday night tell you about either the Bills or the Patriots, except for that Bill Belichick's a better coach than Sean McDermott? That's it. It didn't tell you anything about the talent on the field.
Yeah, well, I mean, Josh Allen did not play very well, and he missed the game-winning touchdown pass and made some dumb mistakes in the red zone. Like, I wasn't super impressed by Josh Allen either. I mean, these guys, in theory, right, this is like number 1 and number 2 in MVP betting odds facing off with each other. But, like, nobody really thinks that's true. Yeah, I guess I'll take the Buccaneers here. I don't know. I don't trust the Bills. Although Geoff makes a very good point about this being a warm weather spot, and you certainly would prefer Buffalo somewhere like that. But Tampa can physically maul you as well. And because we live in a world where the Bills have to keep losing games because the Dolphins need to get into the playoffs, and I just imagine this happening, and that somehow I've got to deal with Tua nonsense, that the world is going to conspire against me here to let the Bills lose. So the Bills are going to lose.
This is also
this
is also not the battle between the top 2 in MVP voting. Brady is plus 175.
Was it the last night?
Sure, but we're not. That already happened.
Who's 2? Jonathan Taylor?
I assume Rodgers must have moved to second.
Jonathan Taylor. Good God.
I have no idea who's number 2.
Aaron
Rodgers is
it's Rodgers number 2. Then it's Kyler. I think that Kyler still might win at 7-1.
We're almost to the point though. Brady has one more good game. It's kind of over. The narrative is starting to coalesce around him.
Yeah,
he's a predominant favorite over everybody else, and if he plays really well this week against Buffalo again, it's sort of hard to imagine him losing it.
Don't worry. I'll be enjoying a waterfall in the Maldives on the night before the Super Bowl when Brady gets his MVP, Belichick gets his Coach of the Year, and the culmination will be them playing the next day at SoFi. Okay,
and 200 million people watch that on NBC.
In simply incredible. I don't know, Tampa. I just think Buffalo has the haymaker to throw. Tampa won't want a part of it. Tampa's going to win their final 4 games. Their schedule is so easy coming home after this. Putrid teams, Carolina, the Jets. They'll be in fine form. They'll do everything they'll need to do to be in the form they want to be heading into the playoffs. I was dumb enough. Can I say this?
No.
It's my fault. Like, I've made fun of Sean McDermott. I've made fun of what happened. But who's the idiot here? Who bet the Bills last night? Me. Who's got Sean McDermott to win Coach of the Year bets? Me. Idiot. I'll take the Bills, though. Like, they have to have a desperation haymaker because it's getting to that point. It's getting to that point.
So you and I, both with the Bills. Tampa for the coin, and Tim Andercust. Sunday night football, the Packers are 11.5-point favorites at home against Chicago. The over-under is 43.5. Don't know yet whether or not that Fields is going to be playing. There's rumblings that he could play with his cracked ribs, but I wouldn't imagine that he's going to go. And that means we get Dalton again. Packers are 10-2 against the spread. Bears are only 4-8. It feels like this game could be close in division, but it also feels, Tim, like the Bears aren't very good.
Yeah, I agree with you. This has got the makings of a 42-10 type of Sunday nighter. I don't think Chicago has much of a hope. We're teasing the Packers down to the last part of the tease. Green Bay is playing very good football. The Bears just keep losing every game they play in week after week after week. The Bears are very unimpressive. I mean, even on Thanksgiving where they pulled out a W, like even then they were like desperately trying to give that game away to Detroit. I don't see any reason to back the Bears in this game, particularly since I can't imagine Fields plays. Yeah, I like Green Bay to win. This seems like a complete snoozer of a Sunday nighter, which is nice. It means I can go to bed at halftime.
Yeah. So without Fields, this game just feels so pathetic to be on Sunday night. And even with Fields, you could have made that case. But, that's an element that, I love football so much. Like I want to see, the next Bears QB play the Packers a bunch and play them on the road. But you obviously figure CBS wasn't letting go of Brady versus Allen, and Fox was locking in Washington, Dallas. And I'm sure the league begged them, you can't put the Browns and we can't have the same game again.
No, you could have taken the Niners and Bengals, though.
I don't know. And I guess, yes, but just like last week, Tim, where it was like, should they have taken Bengals and Chargers? And the football fan in us was, but Bears, Chicago Packers is so evergreen.
I get it. I get why you got to have the oldest of the old rivals.
And they didn't even have a matchup attainable to move it. Like this is a horrible.
Don't do this next year to us in December. Do this in September when both teams are like at 1-1 or 0-1 or 1-2. Don't make me have to sit through Andy Dalton.
Well, they do that because they do. What do you think? Like we got the Lions playing the Packers in September because we know, but on purpose because they're not putting the Lions in December or late November outside of Thanksgiving in a game we're going to watch.
You got the Bears next Monday night.
Well, the Bears should have been a lot better. And frankly, the Bears were a lot better before they lost their two best defensive players. And now they have no defense.
And no quarterback. No, I know. That's why I can't get to backing the Bears in this game. I don't think 11 is nearly enough.
Yeah, even if it's close, even if it starts out like maybe that Lions game versus the Packers in primetime moons ago that I referenced, in the end, the Packers will find the number because the Bears will suck.
Yeah.
I could see it being a situation where the Packers just get up 17-0 and then they're content with running the ball for 3 yards and punting and not doing anything the entire game. And then on the last drive, the Bears just score a touchdown to cover. That's in the cards here. I'm going to take the Packers
while you were sleeping.
Yeah, I'm not going to see it. I'll watch it the next morning. But I could see that scenario unfolding. Although I just don't know. Even as we saw last week, even when the Bears defense holds up a little bit, Dalton just gives it to the other team. People were complaining about Kyler Murray's stat line last week and just the amount of attempts and yardage that he had. Where was he going to throw the ball? They had the ball starting at the 9-yard line every single time. You can only throw so many times from there before you have to stop and score a touchdown. So I could see the same thing happening. Are we all going round of Packers?
Yep.
That's bad, but yeah.
Not the coin. The coin is taking the Chicago Bears in this spot. Monday Night Football. Rams at Arizona. Arizona favored by 3 at home. 51.5 is the over-under. Where do you get the sense that more people will be betting this game? Do you think it'll be the Rams side or do you think it will be the Cardinals side? Because if you look at Pro Football Focus, I haven't looked at the Football Outsiders DVOA stats, but the Rams are still the best team in football by the numbers, which kind of blows my mind.
I think people will be slightly more in Arizona, but that's not where I will be. I will be with the Rams. Very close game, I think, against two very evenly matched teams. Rams were a dome team. Cardinals were a dome team. So it's a road dome. A tight divisional matchup that could go either which way. So I get 3 points. So I will take 3 points, and I'll go with the Rams.
I am going to take the Cardinals. The Cardinals are probably a lot like Baltimore, Jeff. Like when Pizzola comes on Friday, he talks about the Pythagorean win total expectancy. They're probably way under that, but they've also picked up a bunch of wins with Colt McCoy at quarterback. Kyler looked healthy last week, and the offense resembled what it should look like, and those were in terrible conditions in Chicago. I think that Kyler's kind of a cheat code against this Rams defensive line. He can get away from them, and the moment you can get away from them, they don't have 4 Ramses out there. Someone is going to be open down the field, and as we saw last time with this game in Los Angeles, they just could not keep up with them on the scoreboard. And as good as like the Rams offense looked last week against the Jags, it still didn't look great for a while. Unless the Rams are content with running the ball, slowing this game down, which I don't think that they have the guts to do against Cliff Kingsbury, I think they're just going to lose a shootout to the Cardinals, and I'll take the Cardinals -3.
Doesn't it feel like the Cardinals aren't getting
any respect?
Enough respect for how good they might actually be?
Because we're not seeing them play. They have not flexed them into primetime games. They're not playing Monday nighters before this week. They haven't played a Thursday nighter, I don't think yet. Like, no one has seen the Cardinals other than I take that back. We saw them once against the Packers and they lost. They haven't had the eyeballs on them yet. So they're like an incomplete on everybody's scorecard.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's like people don't want to believe in them or think like, oh, they're fun, but they're not going to run off like a couple playoff wins, will they? And Pat, you started this thing by asking the question, like, where do you think people will be on? And I think there's still just like a public sentiment for the Rams.
I agree.
And their ability for the sizzle.
But I don't know that for sure. That's where my first thought went, is like, who's not betting the Rams +3 in a primetime game? But I could be wrong.
I am going to take the Rams. Feels like it's been a while since they played a complete game. I am overlooking any coaching mismatch, like any game versus Urban Meyer doesn't count. When trying to assess if a team has played a complete game, I think we're gonna get it. I think I'm taking the points. Fun Monday nighter. I'm really excited for it. I don't love it, but I'm gonna bet it because it's a TV fun one, and I hope I don't overbet it like last night. Jeez.
The key is just to go to bed like before it starts, and then like you'll forget to bet it and save yourself some money.
I wish I was.
Yeah, I can't though. We're running out of Monday nights for Monday Night Football, so like
I don't hang out with a friends on Monday anymore ever. I can't even remember the last time that was a thing. Like by the time the game started, is bedtime. But I was really excited for last night. Got together with some buddies. Like
Geoff and I texted throughout the entire game last night. It seemed like we were back and forth on Twitter and DMs talking about that game. That was an enjoyable one to watch.
Okay. Point for the Rams in this one, a lot like the Buffalo Bills, that so far this season, home favorites are 9-21 against the spread if the total of the game is over 50 points. So Tampa and Arizona would be the teams falling into those traps this week, although it does seem like the number is a whole lot lower. I'd want to break that down a little bit more and see within like a 3-point spread what the against the spread numbers would be, because you can make that case if a team's like, there's a big difference between laying 3 points and laying 14.5 points, depending on what the total of the game is. I just thought that was really interesting. There's a few gambling facts, just straight up trends from this season in particular, that are going to be in the newsletter this week. But that's it. We got super locks on the go. I lost last week, so I'm off going first. Geoff, you still got to catch me. Who you got?
Boy, let me look at it. Sorry, shoot. Week 14.
I'll go. Give me the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh yeah, give me Cleveland. I'm
All right,
sorry.
fine.
What
Last
a ridiculous.
Last time this happened, you took Washington, I took Green Bay, and I came out on the top of this.
And really, you shouldn't. Washington really should have covered that game.
Okay, well, fair enough.
Washington could have won that game. Like the fact that they didn't cover that game would probably be one of the crazier.
This game is becoming your Cardinals or your Saints Falcons game. Is that Washington Packers game?
Not really.
That's so ridiculous.
I know. I'm just trying to get you going.
No, he just wanted to bring it around to himself based off Tim had to interject, making a comparison to something that he has done in the past.
Yes.
Stop it.
Thank you, Pat. Again, simple. The Ravens are hurt. You compile that with maybe one of the most ridiculous scheduling spots in the history of the National Football League. Browns at home.
I'm going to take Dallas minus 3.5 on the road in Washington. I just think that they are too well equipped to. Whenever Washington does well, Dallas has an answer for it and does it better than Washington does. Hopefully the elements don't get me here. Maybe Dallas wants to sleepwalk through this game. Just don't see it. They've been sleepwalking enough. I think this is a game where they really gear up and kind of separate themselves from the rest of the NFC East, especially with everyone at full health right now and having a passing offense, which can really take advantage of what Washington does not do well, which is their back end. And you know Dallas can go deep. So hopefully they don't outcoach themselves, do something stupid in the game. Just let Washington be Washington. Dallas, stick to what you do well. Easily cover the 3.5 in this one. That will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Tim, will you recap your free money teaser, please?
I sure will for the people. So it's a 7.5 team tease. Green Bay Packers, Washington Football Team, Kansas City Chiefs, Baltimore Ravens, Seattle Seahawks. Bet the farm, win 3.2 farms.
So you had Washington, Seahawks, Chiefs, Baltimore, and Green Bay?
Seahawks, Ravens, Chiefs, Football Team, Green Bay.
Okay. The cheat sheet will be in the newsletter. I'll have it up on Facebook and Twitter as well, and on dknation.com if you are looking for it. I want to thank The Coin for continuing its lead over Tim on the Cust.
The Cust.
That's not my name, and we'll see whether that dastardly coin is ahead of me coming in next week. I feel good. I feel good about the board this week. I think this is a good week.
Jeff,
There's lots of fun little teasers and parlays to be had out there for the people this week.
Jeff, do you think that, you're now 3-12 for the year on your free money plays and 12-96 lifetime. You could get to 100 lifetime losses before the end of the year.
I think there's no probably about it.
Okay. Do you think that the coin has hacked Cust Bluetooth, Jeff, and that's how he's currently beating him?
He's got to do something instead of.
He would then have the proprietary information that is only stored within Tim's head, unless Tim has maybe shared who he's picking with someone at work during lunch, at which point that person has then gone and leaked the information.
No, nobody knows the free money teaser until I reveal it here on the show. I don't tell anybody what it is before here.
It's usually the squarest picks of the week, so we'll see how it ends up working out here. I tried that last week with my SUPERLOCK. Did not work. You guys were on the right side of that one. Anyway, that's going to do it on the show. Smash a like to the episode. Time code it down in the description. We have a best of the Cust Corner coming out next Monday. Hopefully the podcast feed is back out by then, or it's going to cost me bucks have to remake up some ads for people. Who knows in that circumstance? But that will do it for me. Thank you guys for joining me. We'll have some fun content over the holiday season. We won't get like our day for day. I don't know if I'm going to do my show on Saturday because I'm going to be away. We'll see if I can figure that out. It might be audio only and just post it up on YouTube as well, along with the audio podcast. But that'll do it for me. Thank you all for watching. I'm rambling at this point. You guys have a good week. Good luck. And I'll see you next time.
Mayo Experience! Experience!